prestige.
No.
Think of the respect.
No.
Think of the Tony.
Hello, all you theater lovers, both out and proud and on the DL, and welcome back to Broadway Breakdown, a podcast discussing the history and legacy of American theater's most exclusive address, Broadway. Normally we would be doing the big move, covering shows that transferred from off-Broadway to Broadway, but we are still in the thick of our messy Tony series. We just did the destruction of it all with PJ Adzema, and now we have a friend of the pod who we haven't seen in quite some time to talk about our favorite Tony performances. Please welcome back, real name Prescott Seymour, famous name Sutton Lee Seymour. Hi, baby.
Hello! Every time I come on this podcast, when you do your intro, you always go into the most unique accents, and I just think it's adorable. And do I just bring that out in you?
You bring everything out in me.
Tell me more about what I bring out in you.
Well, I'm prolapsing for starters.
Hey, there it is.
Hey, now, actually, so by the time this episode comes out next week, we are recording this on the Wednesday after I recorded the PJ. I actually have an idea for a reel that I think you'll enjoy.
Okay.
It's on brand for this series. It's an AI Tony presenter.
Oh, goody.
And so it's somebody who is mispronouncing the idea is that it's a mishmash of nominees and shows based off of artificial intelligence, and then weird pronunciations and accents for each of them.
And so in this situation, like John Travolta, like
Adele
Dazeem,
yes,
but not John Travolta AI.
Exactly.
I see. I'm not mad at it.
Including accents. So again, because I intend to do this before the episode comes out, I will give you a little sneak preview. So it'd be
Please.
It would be, and the nominees for best performance by a leading actress in a musical are Jennifer Aniston in Grease,
Okay.
Angelina Jolie in Mem.
Is this like a weird hybrid of Moira Rose meets Marla Mandel as Celine Dion right
Absolutely.
now? Is that what you're serving right now?
It's the Tonys entering into AI Yas Queen work,
Oh.
but make it clean. And so
Slay.
Slay, honey, baby.
Boots.
Slay Boots, homosexual individual.
Kickball change.
Kickball change, baguette with a B.
What'd you call me?
I called you a slagette because you're a slag. And we also have Anna Uzel in 42 Industry.
I have to go now.
I know, me too.
We've gone off the rails. We haven't even started yet.
We haven't even started, but this is to say we're going to go back on topic now because we're going to go off topic all the time. This is how this podcast works.
This is how this podcast works.
Yeah, it's full chaos.
It's Broadway Breakdown. It's not just a breakdown of your favorite Broadway shows and Tony performances, but we also have breakdowns.
Yes, that is when R.I.P. John Miscavige and I first created this podcast. That was the idea, was us breaking down Broadway shows, audition breakdowns, while also having breakdowns ourselves.
And just to be clear, John Miscavige is not dead.
No, just dead to me.
Okay. Okay.
No.
His 35th birthday is coming up, and we've established he's calling it his Bobby
Baby.
Bobby Robert
Yeah.
year. And I texted him, I said, who does that make me in your cast? And he goes, bitch, you're Joanne. I'm like, oh, okay.
You're absolutely Joanne.
Okay, now I just need the husband and the money and the vodka stinger.
Yeah, and I'm either April or I'm Marta. Or I can't quite be Amy. I'm not quite manic enough to be Amy.
Oh, you're manic enough to be Amy.
Well, not on pod. Off pod, I totally am. You've seen me at manic. You've seen me at my, like, super low breakdown moments. That's a true friend, everyone.
But this is... So what you're saying is, when you're on pod, you are galvanized, focused, and ready to take the crown?
Well, no, I am all the terrible things about myself, but far more mainstream.
Oh, I see.
The mainstream version of it.
Hey, you're mainstream now. You're part of the Broadway podcast network.
I have ad breaks and everything, which remind me I gotta make sure we take them. I keep forgetting to do ad breaks, and so it's like in the middle of a sentence, you'll hear Billy, and then go into the ad. So I just got to remember to do it.
Don't forget that.
Sutton, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
First of all, do you recall your first Tony ceremony that you watched?
The short answer is no. The earliest memory I have is having a bunch of my friends coming over to my dad's house and watching. I remember watching The Producers when The Producers was nominated. I remember I just remember various, Tony Award parties with high school friends. I couldn't tell you which one was the first one.
Do you remember when you started paying attention to the categories and sort of...
Honey, I'm not even paying attention now. No, I'm kidding.
Go fuck yourself. But like how we have our brackets and our predictions. Like, do you remember when you started kind of paying attention to that shit?
It must have been mid-90s because my dad, I think our generation, my first musical I ever saw was the National Tour of Phantom of the Opera. And I remember my dad telling me, he's like, oh, this won Best Musical. I'm like, what do you mean? What does that mean? And then he told me about the Tony Awards. I remember that. I remember... And this was during the time when we didn't have Google, we had Encarta 95. Remember that?
No.
And there was no Encarta 95 version of what the Tony Awards were. I remember finding what Playbill.com was. And so, no, I don't remember much because I don't feel like it wasn't as broad to the world back in the early mid-90s when I was a kid growing up. My world of theater was, the community theater productions and the high school productions, and then people talking about, this show, we're doing My Favorite Year, and my high school did My Favorite Year.
You played Tim Curry, right?
I played the Tim Curry part. So I remember hearing, this is a fun show, but it didn't win any awards except for Andrea Martin for Best Supporting Actress.
And we actually talked about that a few weeks ago as one of the few performances in a musical to win for a closed show.
Yeah.
It's far more likely to win as an actor if your show's closed if it's a play. Musicals tend to mostly voters go for what's currently running. So it speaks highly of Miss Martin that she won for the closed My Favorite Year.
Which is going to be fascinating this year because I'm especially tuned into. I'm most excited for the best revival of a musical, just because Into the Woods was the darling of the Broadway season last year, right? And now it's getting all these nominations, but it's a closed show. So what are the chances of that? But that's another story. Never mind. Anyway,
I will say we've done some predictions lately. I think we'll do one. We might hold off on predictions until we get a little closer to the ceremony. It's very difficult this year because one of the big shows that's a contender is Kimberly Akimbo, which isn't eligible for any of the precursors. And precursors matter so little anyway. All they can really do is help maybe gain a little momentum in the community. But so with, Some Like It Hot winning the Outer Critics Circle just now and having the most nominations of the Tonys this year, everyone's like, oh, is that really where everyone's leaning towards it? It's like, you really can't say.
No.
Because there have been years where this exact thing happened, where SpongeBob SquarePants had a whole bunch of Tony nominations. It won the Outer Critics Circle. It won the Drama Desk because Band's Visit wasn't eligible. And then Band's Visit came in that ceremony and swept with 10 awards that night, including awards that people didn't think it was going to win, like Book. And I think even people were surprised by Featured Actor and Director and Actor in a Musical. So it's all very fascinating. In terms of revival of a musical, I do think it is between Woods and Parade.
Interesting.
You are seeing...
I'm seeing Sweeney Todd this evening, so
Yes.
I'm very... I'll give you all my thoughts, but I'm very excited because to see Sweeney Todd at this scale. I mean, I saw the Barrow Street production years ago. I saw Teeny Todd.
Now you're seeing Tinny Todd.
Oh yeah, good. Oh goody.
No, I'm sure. I think where you're sitting, the sound's actually gonna be pretty good. I was in the center orc, and it felt like the orchestra was half a mile away.
I see. Well, I'm very excited. And I think it's a very exciting year, and I think that's the big takeaway. This is such an exciting season.
Yeah, so few sure things, which is what makes it exciting. Yeah. Even if it's down to 2 nominees, it's still like, I don't know. I can't tell you which one is really the front runner. And
I don't necessarily want there to be a front runner. I want to keep guessing. I want that way it's a surprise.
Yeah.
That's me though.
Yeah, but also, I mean, this is the beauty of podcasts like mine. I mean, I like to listen to a lot of the movie Oscar podcasts. So when the Oscars were happening this year, I was listening to a whole bunch of, Little Gold Men, and this movie had Oscar buzz and something else, where they were sort of talking about which nominees had momentum, what the precursors meant. And for Oscars, it's a little different because all the Guild Awards are legitimate precursors because all those voting pools also vote for the Oscars. Whereas at the Tony Awards, that is not the case. Those are very separate voting bodies and nominating bodies. But they would talk about sort of, just the likelihood of an everything everywhere all at once sweep, while also saying, I don't know, when something seems like such a sure thing, it's really difficult to say for certain, because that you have people who go, well, if that's such a sure thing, I'll vote for the thing I liked more. And that's how we end up with, as I've said before, Anthony Hopkins beating Chadwick Boseman, which was a very good win, but no one expected it because everyone was so sure it was Chadwick.
Even the producers didn't expect it. Do you remember that the best actor in a feature film, that was the last award, and they fully expected Chadwick to win.
Yep.
And he did not. And it was a very, like, boner killer ending to the Academy Awards.
Yeah, it was very nothing to see here.
Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Yeah, and Anthony Hopkins wasn't there. They didn't even have him on satellite because he was, I think he was in Ireland filming something, and he offered to zoom in, and they were like, no, you don't need to zoom in. You're not winning. And then he did. But yeah, no, I love that with awards, just sort of the uncertainty, and even the things that I feel pretty confident in. I'm like, I don't know. It's not an award. It's not a producers for Hamilton where it's like, no, it's happening, and everything else is just a pipe dream.
So I have a question for today. Since we're talking about our favorite Tony performances, are we trying to like categorize like what is the best Tony Awards performance that has been televised, or like how do you want to do this today?
Let's start with maybe let's start with an obvious choice, and then maybe an under the radar choice.
I like that.
Yeah, and we can go back and forth, and then because I'm still not sure what I would consider the best Tony performance.
Oh, I have my thoughts.
I mean, I've got like my top 10, but also it changes all the time.
Mine does not.
Yours does not? Okay.
No.
I find it's easier to pick something a little older, only because with the historical impact and the longevity of its impressiveness, it's easier to go, that's clearly the best one because we're still talking about it 40 years later. Whereas with Fun Home, it's like, well, it's been 8 years and it's still amazing, but like, will it have the same impact of 40 years later like A New Argentina with Patti LuPone does?
Right.
We don't know.
We don't know.
At this point.
In 40 years, when I'm back on this podcast with you, and we're talking like Statler and Waldorf.
Absolutely. It's Statler and Waldorf meets Death Becomes Her. It's going to be great.
Oh my God. Do you remember where you parked the car?
I can see right through you. Hot take. I don't love that movie, but I love every scene they have together. And so, like, that is a movie where I don't like an hour of it, and I love another hour of it.
That's
like,
fair.
Yeah, I go back and forth.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's one I revisit. It's not my... I love it. I love it.
Most of the gays do.
But it's not one I watch. Like, I could watch Drop Dead Gorgeous maybe once a week. Clue, once a week. But, like, Drop Dead Gorgeous, I come back to it maybe every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry, Death Becomes Her.
Yeah, Drop Dead Gorgeous. I haven't watched in a while, but I also can just quote that entire movie. I'm also one of the few that has it on DVD.
Same. I have it on VHS. You want to go to bat? Let's go to bat.
Let's whip it out and go to bat. Okay, so give me one of your big, broad, big old dick, big old titties performances.
Well, wow. Let's see. I think I'm not gonna give you my number one yet.
Okay.
But I think when I think Tony Awards performances, B. Arthur and Angela Lansbury doing Bosom Buddies, that is like staple Tony Awards performance. That you will see that performance at every Musical Mondays across America, from the spot here in New York City to sidetracks in Chicago. Like, you will always see that. Plus, it's Angela, it's B, it's them being sassy. It's a gay man's dream come true.
Absolutely. They're fucking icons.
Yeah.
I adore them. My dad and I have had many fights. He never got the Angela Lansbury love, and it was one of those things where I just said, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you can't not get it. Listen, every now and then she has a performance that I haven't loved, but that doesn't detract from my love for her and the beautiful things she's done with her life.
Not everybody's going to get a home run.
Exactly.
But this is a home run.
1000%.
This is iconic. It's 2 Broadway broads. Mm-hmm. It's perfect.
They're at that sweet spot where they are still so in control of their talent. Their talent is so fresh, but they've also lived enough that there's a comfort and an ease and a joy with it, and like no fucks given vibes, which I love. It's just so good.
And it's got that sass that, musical theater gays love. Mm-hmm. I mean, yes, we all know the jokes, the Somewhere Between 40 and Death. We all know those jokes.
If I kept my hair natural like yours, I'd be bald.
Well, I am bald, so fuck off. Anyway.
So we should do the number.
All right. Hit it! And I love that song. It's a standard. It's a golden classic. It will stand the test of time. We will still be singing it 40 years from now.
Sure, I completely agree. I didn't realize we were able to do the specialty numbers, because if we're doing that, then I gotta go for another one, which is Dorothy Loudon's Broadway Baby. Speaking of manic off the rails.
Okay, go on.
Well, I love it, because anyone who is aware of Dorothy Loudon knows what her energy is, which is just, it's just truly talent alien. And she takes Broadway Baby, and this is, I think, right after she's closed Sweeney Todd. Mm-hmm. And she's wearing what I can only describe as what looks like a pink ruffled shirt. And that, because it's not even like really a dress, it stops right at her vagina. Oh. And these long blue tights that look painted on.
What was fashion?
What was fashion in the 80s? I don't know. And she's just going balls to the walls. It's like
but you need her to.
Yeah, the spirit has possessed her.
Yeah.
Because usually when we think Broadway Baby, we think one of two things. We either think of, you know, old broad doing it like Elaine Stritch or Jane Howdyshell, and they sell it, but it's very old school.
Yeah.
Or you get like the cutesy person, you know, Broadway Baby. And Dorothy's like, okay, but what if you're at a Methodist church revival, like just fully inhabited by the spirit and the demons? It's like, what would happen
at the same time?
It's like, what if Linda Blair and The Exorcist did Broadway Baby? And it's great, especially because she's aware of it. She makes that call out to Sondheim, who I think is in the audience. She goes, "You didn't know what you had with this one, did you, Steve?"
I need to revisit that one. I've not seen that performance in ages.
Yeah, it's just also it's one of those years where it's a Broadway house, so it's like only industry people, and everyone just loves her and they love what she does, and it's glorious.
I would then recommend, if we're on the Dorothy Loudon train, and this one's on my list too, I love the Annie medley. Mm-hmm. The Annie medley,
my list too.
Great, it's solid.
Yeah.
Yes, when you hear Tomorrow, it's gonna like trigger your PTSD, just like Let It Go does for all those Disney Cruise Line actresses out there. Mm-hmm. You know, you're gonna hear Tomorrow, but then you get Easy Street, and you get Dorothy Loudon, the original Miss Hannigan, and you realize you've never seen a Miss Hannigan played the way that Dorothy Loudon plays Miss Hannigan.
I think Gunkle Adam Ellsbury was very close with Gary Beach before he passed, and Gary Beach had done Annie for a very long time.
I've seen a bootleg of his performance. It was incredible.
Gumby, rubber band. And what he had said, and I think Adams even said it on the podcast, that with Dorothy Loudon's Miss Hannigan, you knew that what was driving her insane was just how horny she was. All she wanted and all she really needed was one night out to get drunk and get loud and come back and have her zhuzh, how Stella got her groove back. But because of her job and because of the financial times of it being the Depression, she couldn't. And it was driving her insane. So he's like, everything about her Hannigan basically came from the vagina. And you can see it in her performance, the way she moves. It's not even, and that Easy Street is incredible. What I love about that medley, because first of all, yes, you hear the opening notes of Tomorrow with that guitar and you go, oh God.
Oh, here we go.
But it's one of those things where, much as I love, Adina with Let It Go, when I hear Adina do it on some telecast, it doesn't ease the PTSD. I just go, I'm like, no, it's here forever no matter what, even though Adina is slaying. But when I watch 13-year-old Andrea McArdle do it on that telecast, the PTSD actually melts away.
Oh, absolutely. Then once it's like bottoming. At first you're like, okay, and you ease into it, and then hopefully it's
that's what I've been told bottoming is like.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know. I've read about it in books. But the other thing I also love is, and I want to make sure we talk about it, is the Never Fully Dressed Without a Smile performance.
Oh, those kids.
What people forget about Annie when it first was on Broadway was it wasn't as cutesy as we now kind of make it.
Yeah.
I mean,
those kids are working.
They are working. And they're like all weirdos. They aren't cute little kids except for maybe Molly, but she's also missing a mouthful of teeth. They're... not to trigger anybody with, canceled movie people, but they all look like faces you'd see in a Woody Allen movie. They are not Gap Kid actors. They've got unique faces and unique styles and unique voices.
They're individuals.
Absolutely. And I know that was something that they really tried to do with the original production, was they tried never to cast it with cutesy kids. Yeah. They always wanted kids who had a little bit of an edge to them because they're in a fucking orphanage during the Great Depression.
In New York City.
Yeah, they're tougher than most.
Yeah.
And that Fully Dressed Without a Smile, it's, I don't know, it's very vaudeville burlesque, the dancing and the attitude, and the audience is living for it because the kids aren't being precious. They're just living their best lives.
They're dancing as hard as the original cast of A Chorus Line.
1000%. Just because they're like 9,
Yeah.
Doesn't make it any less exciting. It's a wonderful moment, and it's also great to watch Annie, because I think at that Tony ceremony, the show had only really been open for like 2 months, so it was a huge hit, and it wasn't cloying yet. Tomorrow had not become a cloying number yet.
It had not become the theme.
Yes,
of anthem.
The anthem of all children pushed on stage by their mothers, who were just like, I don't know, people say I'm loud, so here I am. So just to watch, 1,600 fully grown adults lose their shit for that medley for every single number, I don't know, it gives me joy.
Oh yeah, no, it's joyful.
Yeah.
It's just a joyful medley.
And I wish we would kind of come back to that attitude with Annie, not to go so far Tina Landau where the whole show ends up being a dream and there are crackheads on the street during NYC, but where it's not cutesy precious either. Like, I want that sweet spot, because also, like, the book of Annie is kind of sarcastic and cynical.
Totally.
Yeah, I love the joke where Annie, explodes in Act 2 and becomes nationally famous, and the kids are talking about hearing her on the radio, and Miss Hannigan goes, I know. By this point, they're going to make a cartoon out of Annie. And everyone's like, rah, 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 'cause that's how she started. But it's like, it's one of those things where everyone on board for that show knows what the audience is thinking going in. Like, yeah, we know. The comic strip annoyed you. It annoys us too. We're gonna call it out and then like give you a lovely show. Yeah, I love it.
That's solid.
Yeah. Now give me one of your undergrounds.
Ooh, let me consult the text here for a second. Okay. I think I will say. Okay, remember when you were talking to me about like your first memories of the Tony Awards? It's come to me. One of them I will never forget, watching the Wild Party Tony performance and just being mystified by everything between Toni Collette and Mandy Patinkin, and then Eartha Kitt comes out and sings a snippet of When It Ends. It was beautiful and grotesque, and I wanted more. I wanted so much more. Yeah, that is one of my first memories. We got there, Matt. We got there. I think that was the beginning of my obsession with Eartha Kitt and Mandy Patinkin. And I want Toni Collette to come back to Broadway one day, someday, maybe.
Someday far away.
Always comes back to Amy.
Yeah. Did I say this? Oh, maybe I did on the episode with PHA. I can't remember, but I saw dear friend Caitlin Frank in Funny Girl.
Yay!
And I went backstage afterwards, and Funny Girl is at the August Wilson, which used to be the Virginia Theater, where that Wild Party was. And I took a photo of the wings, and I put it on my close friends, and I said, it was here in 2000 that Toni Collette stood and said, never again shall I do a Broadway musical. And it's devastating. I hope she's changed her mind. A lot of scars never heal. They can maybe get a little tougher and you can sort of live with them, but I know that was a very hard experience for her.
That show I think it's ahead of its time. It was ahead of its time.
And especially the way that company and George C. Wolfe as the director approached it, they did not hold back. They really went to dark places to make it the most extraordinary thing it could be. And it's a style of acting and directing that we don't really get anymore. And I mean, we would need intimacy coordinators, obviously, for the way that show is. But I feel like people aren't necessarily willing to go to such a raw, toxic place.
So I disagree, and I'm going to tell you why.
Tell me.
Because I wonder, and I'm just speculating here, I think with the success that Chicago had in 1997, that's a show about murder and alcoholism, and beautiful show tunes. I'm not saying Wild Party and Chicago are like linked, but there's a similarity there. There's jazz, there's parties, there's drugs, there's alcohol. So I wonder, the creators, they were saying, what if we could, run Chicago's a hit, why can't we do it with this as well? Don't you think? Do you think it's linked?
Well, first of all, they take place in the same era.
Of course.
And yes, they have a lot of same actions involved, but it is about the attitude. Like, Chicago was done as a vaudeville. I mean, Chicago is a very cynical musical, and it was created at Fosse's like lowest point emotionally and mentally, and then he had his heart attack during rehearsals, and he made it even more cynical. But there is a veneer to the stage version of Chicago that I think can at least allow actors doing it to have a lot of the actions at an arm's length, because it's a vaudeville and very
presentational.
Yes, very performative.
What you're saying is the Chicago has a wink to the audience that the Wild Party does not.
Exactly. The Wild Party has characters who are performative, but the show itself is not. And in fact, the show starts in a similar style to Chicago, where it is breaking the fourth wall and very, vaudeville cartoony. And it's that moment between Burrs and Queenie when they have the fight and Queenie pulls out the knife. The moment there's a trumpet blare and the veneer goes away and we just see two people where one's about to kill the other one.
Right.
And it's that... The way that Toni Collette first says, the Burrs, pour me a cup of coffee. And then when the trumpet blares, you hear with all the fear in her voice of, you come near me and I'll fucking kill you. And that is sort of... Wild Party goes from that first beat to the second beat over the course... Yeah, so fast. And then throughout the rest of the night continues down that road.
Right.
And you see a lot of those actions happening in real time. You see a sexual assault and you see all these things happening. And I feel like Chicago was ahead of its time, but even when it came back in the 90s, we weren't so open-minded and forward-thinking that we were willing to see all the things that Chicago does in real time, in a real way. It was more about the entertainment value, which is its own brilliant commentary. Mm-hmm. At Wild Party, I feel like the commentary eventually goes away, and it's like, no, everyone here is a disaster.
Yeah, okay, so I see what you're saying, because in Wild Party you see the raw, like, beat 0 to 60 with the assault.
Yeah.
But in Chicago, Roxy does kill Fred.
Sure. But
it's done in a very presentational, almost gimmicky, stagey, jokey way. You see the actor get shot, but then he's dancing Fosse for the final beat of them, right? You know?
And even the presentation of this revival, Roxy doesn't actually have a gun. She uses her fingers.
Right.
And there's no blood, and they even make a punchline of that, I gotta pee.
Right.
The moment in the show that I think always lands emotionally for me, and it's even better in the movie, is when the Hunyak gets hung.
Yeah.
Because that's the first time... It's like, no, the stakes here are actually very real. Yeah. And then it goes right back into Razzle Dazzle, which it makes sense because that's the theme of the show.
Right.
But I think Wild Party does that a lot more often. The way I described it on... I don't even think this was on the pod. I just talked to this with a friend recently. I'll talk about Wild Party to anybody. And by the way, Prescott, this show is one of the reasons why you and I are friends.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this.
No, tell me.
When we first started talking and hanging out, and I went back to see your show, you did When It Ends.
Yeah.
And I was in the front row and I was the most living for it. and we basically just like looked at each other for the rest of the number, because you weren't doing Let It Go or anything like that. You were doing fucking LaCusa's Wild Party. So a lot of gays are, it's a great song and you sound great on it.
Thank you.
But a lot of gays were like, oh, like this is the time to go to the bar and get my drink and then I'll come back. And I'm like, no. For me, this is the song.
Yeah.
And we saw each other in that moment and we became friends from that.
But I think that's the thing. This show has stuck with me. Maybe I was at a very impressionable age. Maybe when it came out was, the year 2000?
2000. I'm also so glad you said this performance, so keep going.
Oh, I want to say it's an underdog. The performance should be appreciated, because Wild Party is now a legendary flop of a musical, but it's got its flaws. I'm not saying it's a perfect musical, but it is such a good musical that if people have not seen this Tony Awards performance, just watch it and get a glimpse of how marvelous this show was.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's great.
Yeah.
Greatness is never perfect.
Right.
And I also think that Tony performance is such a smart way to market a supremely unmarketable show.
Yeah.
They make it enticing and sexy and odd, but not in a way that's off-putting. Like, I think the things they choose to show are exactly right in terms of reaching as wide a demographic as they can while not necessarily lying to the audience. It is this is the vibe of our show, and if you come in like, it is gonna get darker, but like there is an energy to it that is palpable.
But this was also the same era as the cabaret revival, too. It feels like when the Chicago revival came out, it wasn't dark, but then the cabaret revival came out, got darker, and then Wild Party went, oh, too dark, we're too dark, too dark.
Yeah, it was definitely like, okay, where's the line? And then a lot of people saw Wild Party and went, that's the line.
There it is.
That's the line. Yeah, it's a shame because I do think that show is brilliant, and I think that original production is extraordinary. I'm so glad you said that performance. I was going to say something else about Wild Party before I went off topic about saying we were friends. We were talking about murder, the gun, all the things. Oh, yes. The way that the LaCusa Wild Party chooses to do the Burrs getting shot scene.
Yeah.
As opposed to the Lipa version.
The Lipa version, it is a up-tempo, tense musical number, but the LaCusa version is just like, it is eerie.
Yeah.
It is eerie.
It
should be.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking like pure opera, pop opera, if you will, popra, the Lipa version does do that. It takes a moment and goes, okay, how do we make this a song? And it gives you all the dynamic vocals, and you do feel sort of the stakes, but the LaCusa version's like, no one's going to be singing here. We've got a woman pleading for her life at the hands of her now fully insane lover. Who's
Mandy Patinkin.
Literally,
who's just giving you Mandy Patinkin?
In full blackface.
Yes.
Holding a gun to her temple. And you just hear like a very dissonant note the entire time. And you just hear Toni Collette sobbing for her life. And it's like, yeah, this is real. Mm-hmm. It's a musical, but it's real.
Yeah.
And it's just so, oh God, it's powerful. I love it so much. Thank you for saying that, Wild Party. And that cast is incredible in the way that it's so good. And you just watch them all. And there's a great shoulder shimmy thing that Tanya Pinkins does at the end when they do the "Don't you know it's my party? You can't take away what's mine. Don't you know it's my party time or the devil will rise and shine?" And I'm just like,
for those of you who can't see because it's a podcast, Matt just did a full shimmy that honestly Donna McKechnie would be proud of.
Thank you, Donna McKechnie. You know, I did Music in the Mirror at Playhouse Bar a few weeks ago.
I saw the video.
Yes, I was supremely drunk. Otherwise, my bones would not have been so limber. I was Gumby for a day. Okay, let me do one of my
Under the radar.
Yeah. Let's see. So this one's not... Okay. This one's under the radar simply because it's a play, and the Tonys rarely do plays.
Bring back the play.
I know. The Tonys rarely showcase plays, and when they do, it doesn't always work, but there have been quite a few moments where plays have gotten showcased, and they've all been wonderful. So you know what? I'm going to sort of lop them all together.
Okay.
It is Joan Allen and Peter Friedman doing the end of Act 1 from Heidi Chronicles.
Ooh.
It is Mary Louise Parker and Timothy Hutton doing the first date meet cute in Prelude to a Kiss. Mm-hmm. And then it is James Earl Jones, and I forget the name of the actor who plays his son in Fences, but it's the "What Law Is There That I Gotta Like You" scene. Mm-hmm. All three are incredible for very different ways. You have Joan Allen and Peter Friedman coming to blows in a very realistic Upper West Side kind of way, where they're at Skip's wedding, and Peter Friedman's basically telling Joan Allen all the reasons why he was never going to marry her because she essentially is too much woman for him, and then saying that these women of the late 80s, early 90s, they're so smart, they're so successful, and they're never going to be happy because they want it all, and you'll never have it all, and the only ways you'll get some of the things that are elusive to you is to lower your standards and to be less exceptional. And Joan Allen is basically like, the fuck do I say to that? And
Joan Allen.
Brilliant. I mean, both wonderful actors.
Yeah.
And Fences is mostly a monologue from James Earl Jones to his son, and it's a powerful, legendary actor doing one of the greatest plays of the last 50 years. I know a lot of people who are like, oh yeah, Fences, that's August Wilson's most mainstream. I'm like, that's just his most successful financially. But Fences is a fucking masterpiece, so kindly kill yourself. But but you know what I mean? Like, people always want to say like, oh, everyone goes for the obvious answer. I love King Henry II or Seven Guitars. And I'm like, okay, yes, those are lovely plays, but Fences is pretty fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
It's not stupid to say you love that play.
It's a good play. It's run the course of time. It's stand the test of time for a reason.
Exactly. And if you watch the James Earl Jones Tony performance, which is maybe 2 minutes, maybe 3, and it's mostly just him. It is just theatrical energy coming at you like fire.
Can we just have James Earl Jones just have a play, and it's just James Earl Jones reading the phone book?
Yes.
I would watch it.
Yes, and each page he does a different emotion.
Yes.
Yes.
And the audience tells him what emotion to take.
Exactly. Now you're sympathetic, and then he just makes you cry because he's so sympathetic towards you.
And now you do it as Darth Vader.
Yeah. Prelude to a Kiss. Are you familiar with Prelude to a Kiss?
It's been probably since high school, since I've never seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I read it in high school, and that is my history as Prelude to a Kiss.
I love that History Boy. It's an odd...
I love the History Boys.
We all love the History Boys. They didn't have a Tony performance, sadly, but... the original production, it was Mary Louise Parker and Alec Baldwin off-Broadway, and then it moved to Broadway, and it was Timothy Hutton. And I do believe Prelude to a Kiss is what launched Mary Louise Parker's career. And so there was a lot of excitement about that play of, like, who is this, like, manic pixie dream girl who's just so engaging and odd, but yet dropped in and natural? She's such an odd creature of the stage, and that's why I love her so much. But... that performance of her and Timothy Hutton, she's talking about how, like, she has trouble sleeping, and she says, I tried to do, what's it with the pins in your face and all that?
Are you talking about Hellraiser, the horror film?
No! Like when Charlotte in Sex and the City is trying to conceive, and they put pins in her so she can change her, like, chakras and all that shit. It's like it's an Asian kind of treatment. They put, like, little needles in you.
Yeah.
What's it called?
I'm having a brain fart.
Me too. God damn it. Because she says... I'm also ruining the punchline because she says the thing. She says the name of the therapy that she's trying. My listeners are hearing this and being like, Jesus fucking Christ, Matt. What is wrong with you?
It's always the way, though. You get in front of a microphone and then you just can't think of the term that is...
Okay, I'm opening up my laptop. I'm getting to this performance because the point is that she says, "Oh, I even tried this," and he says, "Oh, what was that like?" And she goes, "Like little needles stuck into your skin."
Acupuncture.
Yes. God damn it. God fucking damn it. I was literally just watching. I was literally watching the Tony performance, being like, "Mary Louise Parker, what is it? Acupuncture." She says, "I even tried acupuncture," and she says, "What was that like?" And she goes, "Like little needles stuck into your body."
I love that we both were at a loss for the term acupuncture.
It has happened so much.
We can recite the entire lyrics of Not Getting Married Today, but we can't think of the term acupuncture.
No. This is the problem with our brains. It's filled to the brim with this other shit, and then the real world shit. We're like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
The needle thing in you.
The needle. Tell me more about your sex life.
No. But I love that performance because it allows time for the two of them to just sort of do this wonderfully romantic scene. It is sort of a meet cute, but it's not cloying. They have such chemistry. I think they even were dating at the time. And then it eventually goes into a later scene because the whole point of Prelude to a Kiss is they get married, and the day they get married, this old man kisses Mary Louise Parker on the mouse, and eventually Timothy Hutton realizes that the souls of the old man and Mary Louise Parker have swapped, and so he's now married to...
Yes. It's all coming back.
Yes. And so later on, he realizes this, and he goes to find the old man, and he has this scene in the Tony performance with the older man who has the spirit of Mary Louise Parker, and it's just a fun connection. It's an odd play, but that scene on the Tonys with the two of them, with Timothy and Mary Louise, is just delightful. And I just sit there and I go, let's bring back plays.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Mainly because I want to see a snippet of Grey House. So
I'm seeing her tomorrow.
Oh, I want to hear everything.
You better believe.
Should we talk about a mainstream one?
Yeah.
Should we do? Let's see. Just because we've been talking for a while.
Oh, before we get to that though, let's take a break.
Oh boy.
Really, I beg to differ with you.
How do you mean?
You're the top.
Yeah?
You're an arrow collar. You're the top. You're a Coolidge dollar. You're the nimble tread of the feet of Fred.
And we're back. Okay.
Huzzah!
Huzzah. Okay, here we go.
Okay. Well, I would say I want to bring this one up now because I think not for any reason of making people wait, but if we don't address it soon, people might get mad.
Sure.
But we have to talk about Jennifer Holliday Dreamgirls, and I'm telling you.
Dreamgirls makes me cream girls. And the It's All Over before that. There's some great... I don't want to undermine the great performances that lead up to And I Am Telling You.
Yeah.
Loretta Devine.
Yes.
Oh, no, when are you two gonna stop?
Hey, you still got it.
I still got it. But yes, let's now get into Miss Holiday.
But I'm sorry. It is the Tony Award performance. That is my number one. I think it is many people's number one. I think it is yes, an obvious choice, but it is the one that even to this day, as many times as I have seen it, it still makes me go, damn, it's just so good, so full of emotion. She's vocally incredible. I love the leg over the track.
Yep, over the cable.
It's iconic. In my mind, it is the number one.
It is pretty incredible.
But you don't agree.
I don't know. It's in my top 5.
If it's not the number one for everybody, it's definitely up there in the top 5 or top 10 for sure.
So let me the ones that I think are battling it out in that top 5 for me, it's Dreamgirls.
Yes.
It's the original Chorus Line.
Yes.
The original Evita.
Oh sure.
Our New Argentina.
I'm not a big Evita person.
You were one of the few gays that isn't. But I get it. I mean, I don't think Evita's a good musical, but
Patty's performance and Bob Gunton
and
incredible.
And the original staging and that those are, like it's one of those things where I would love to see someone do something with Evita that makes me excited about it anew. I just haven't found it yet, and it's the more times I see people trying to fuck with it and it fails, the more I'm like, I just don't think this is a very good musical. And I think Hal Prince found a way to make it exciting, and we got very lucky that our original trio were Coked Out Patty, Manic Mandy, and Grounded, I'm going to randomly do an accent, Bob Gunton. We got very lucky with that.
We did.
With like 3 smart actors with amazing voices who were not afraid to make choices. And just like balls to the walls.
Balls to the wall choices.
Yeah. That is what makes that show exciting for me. I just don't feel like there's a lot of depth to it. And so when I see people be like, well, we're really trying to dive into who these characters are. And I'm like, the real people had very fascinating lives that the show has no interest in diving into.
Right.
It's very much commentary and Brechtian, but it's not really quite smart enough to be Brechtian. And in order to make any sense of it, you have to have a semblance of knowledge of Argentinian history. Like, we talked about this in the Evita episode, but like, there's so much you don't know about the story of Eva Perón and Perón's government regime was that, Argentina was essentially a European country. It was infiltrated by France and England, and they basically were controlled by the British. And what Perón sort of led with as his campaign was like, we will take our country back and we will not be controlled by the British anymore. And they like give you 2 or 3 random lines over the 2-hour musical that reference this. But if you don't know that that's what they're talking about, you're like, what are we talking about?
Right.
Foreign domination of our industries. And it's, again, I love the performance. It's such a theatrically exciting time. And to just watch Patty in really like killer dom top mood just go to town. It's really extraordinary. I also love the Promises performance.
Oh, you have to talk about, of course.
Yeah, which we'll get to her as well. But for me,
Turkey Lurkey.
Yeah.
Hello.
I think those are the 4 for me that are battling it out. And then there are others where I'm like,
so
Dreamgirls, Chorus Line, Evita, and Promises. Ironically, 3 of them, Michael Bennett.
Yeah.
And then there are others that mean a lot to me that I think would be in my top 10 or 15. I'm just not sure if I am willing to go to the mat to put them in my top 5. Like, the original Once on This Island performance with Lilias White.
Oh, yes.
Incredible. There are some mic issues that keep it from being absolutely perfect, but...
Well, I want to talk about, there are some performances that have had mic issues or vocal mistakes because you just did a matinee and then you had to drive over to Radio City to do a performance and you're a little vocally tired after an 8-show week and now you got to go on network television.
Yep.
Like there's little flaws that I do appreciate, but also you just want the it's what makes it live theater, Yeah.
And then there are some performances are actually pre-recorded, like that Evita performance is pre-recorded.
And this is why See, and I didn't know if it was I couldn't tell if
is.
it was pre-recorded. Oh, I see. Okay, so my mind went somewhere else. This is why Angela Lansbury doing her
Sweeney Todd?
Sweeney Todd is not in my top anything because
it's pre-recorded.
well, it's also like she's lip syncing.
She is
badly.
Yeah.
And
Well, she you can tell because she is not sure when her dialogue comes in, so her mouth is fully just open, not saying words for the customer, and she basically just like nods her head like an animatronic doll.
Right, and then it's just a random actor in the Sweeney track, but it's clearly not Sweeney.
Yeah,
it's very weird.
I do wonder if Len was like, I don't want to come on and do that. I don't want to be like Angela's scene partner.
Right.
I don't know.
So that's a no from me. I love Sweeney Todd. It is one of my favorite musicals,
And it's a shame we don't have a better Tony performance of that original production.
Exactly.
It's how I feel about Company Follies and Night Music, the original productions. Unfortunately, were years where there were the Follies year. I believe there were no performances from any of the Best Musical nominees. Night Music, for some reason, it was just Pippin, and they also had Jesus Christ Superstar in there for some reason, or was Jesus Christ Superstar the year before with Follies? There was one year, Jesus Christ Superstar was not nominated for musical, but yet they still got to perform, and there were Best Musical nominees that didn't perform. And I'm like, what are we doing here? And then Company didn't perform because that was the year where they were like, we're honoring every winner of Best Musical to this moment with a 80-second, clip. So you had like Gwen Verdon at 50 doing whatever Lola wants, and you had Robert Preston lip syncing to You Got Trouble, but we don't get anything from Company.
Weird.
So stupid. I hate it.
I don't think people knew then that Company would become the hit that it had become.
Yeah, that it would be the historical force that it became, but it did do well that night at the Tonys.
Yeah.
I think Sunday in the Park with George is probably the first Tony performance of Sondheim's shows where I'm like, yes, this is a nice capsule of the show we like.
Yes, but that Tony Awards performance, it's beautiful, but out of context, and if you don't know much about Sunday in the Park with George, it gives you enough. Mandy Patinkin comes in and takes control of everybody in the cast, and they start singing Sunday, and yes, Sunday is one of the most gorgeous songs that Sondheim has ever written. But out of context, if you're just like a casual Broadway fan and you're watching the Tony Awards, out of context, it's a little like, oh, this is a little weird, but they just keep singing Sunday. Which is why you have to take in the whole show. You need all of that tension, order, harmony, design, whatever. You need all of that to get to Sunday. And so Sunday on its own, beautiful, out of context, like, I don't really know what this show is.
Yeah. I think the best Tony performances... not the best, because we were just talking about Dreamgirls, which we can get back to, but usually the ones that just do like a chunk from the show on its own with no context, they tend to not do great. It's the ones that craft a very unique performance for the telecast that do really well. Like a very recent example for me is the Hadestown performance, where they everything that they're doing is in the show, but not necessarily in the order in which they're doing it. The narration of Andre DeShields into the showing of Ava Noblezada and then Reeve Carney and then going into Wait for Me and all that stuff. It's they set you up for Wait for Me, so you are on board with the style of the performance, for what's going to happen narratively with the performance, and it works very well on its own.
It takes the audience by the hand, saying, this is a lot, but we're going to guide you through it. Yes,
and it's the same thing with the Fun Home performance, which is both of those performances are on my list, by the way, Hadestown and Fun Home. Fun Home, could have done Come to the Fun Home. They could have done Changing My Major, but they ultimately went with the song that is most honest of a representation of that show.
Yes.
And then they said, okay, how can we set this up most for success? Because we can't just have Sidney Lucas come out and sing Ring of Keys. And we would like to maybe show Michael Cerveris a little bit. So what they do is they added this narration for Beth Malone that's actually not really in the show, but it is representative of how her character is in the show. They show the intergenerational relationships, and they set up Sidney Lucas's scene and her performance, the way they film her, and then they end it on a Michael Cerveris close-up. So if you don't know the show, you're like, what's this about? What's he thinking now that he's watching his daughter sing this? And there's just a lot of...
It makes you lean forward.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of interest. It gives you interest.
Yes.
Yes.
It's definitely... That is... I remember watching that performance, just leaning in. It was very inviting, and I wanted more.
Absolutely.
And then I bought tickets.
Let's go back to Dreamgirls.
Yes, Jennifer Holliday. I mean, what more is there to say other than it is one of the most legendary performances we will ever see on Broadway. Just the emotion, I love that. I just love that song. I don't know how to put into words how much I love that song and I love that performance, other than it's just, to me, a flawless performance for the Tony Awards.
And like Fun Home, they include a good chunk of It's All Over to set up the number.
Oh, exactly. You need all that exposition. You're not just getting thrown into, and I'm telling you.
Exactly.
You're thrown into, you know.
And they make some trims to both numbers. There's a whole... actually, they do all of And I Am Telling You. I was trying to think if there was something they cut. Because they usually cut the Please Don't Go Away From Me, Stay With Me. They usually cut that from albums, but it's in the performance.
That was very nice.
Thank you. I'm basically the next Jennifer Holliday.
Oh, Jesus.
But they do make some trims and It's All Over to kind of get to that performance. They also had the benefit, as did a chorus line, of the Tonys being like, oh, you want 8 minutes? Here you go.
Done.
Yeah, doesn't usually happen. I think Coco with Katharine Hepburn is the longest Tony performance.
Yes.
It's like 18 minutes, 20 minutes.
It's a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, there were only 3 Best Musical nominees that year. I think it was Coco, Applause, and maybe Pearly, I want to say.
Oh, I want to talk about Pearly.
Oh, we're talking about Pearly.
We're going to talk about Pearly.
Girl, we talking about Pearly. But I mean, Coco, it's like audiences are coming to see Katharine Hepburn. She cannot sing.
Nope.
So let's show off one of her longer book scenes where she's acting her face off.
Yes.
And then do fashion.
And then there's that song.
Yeah, the song
where everything is Coco.
And then
Chanel.
And then the red dresses, outfits, fashion sequence, which is stunning to look at.
Sure.
But you're also like, I've been here for 17 minutes. Let's move on.
And I gotta pee.
Exactly. Pearly actually for me is an inverse of Dreamgirls or Fun Home, where they should have just done Melba and ended it there. But they go into a big company number after that. And I'm like, it's...
Just let Melba Moore sing I Got Love.
Because she just nails it so hard.
She really does.
Singing
and
that
you can feel the energy from the audience in that video.
Yeah.
And I don't know if today's musical theater gay that goes to Musical Mondays, I don't know if they remember I Got Love very well.
I think that there are enough jaded bitches like us to teach the children. But I think what a lot of younger gays maybe can't grasp is how big of a deal that performance was in Broadway history.
Yeah.
No one sang like that on a Broadway stage ever before. It's something that Seth Rudetsky mentions a lot. He's like, the style of Broadway belting evolved starting with, obviously Ethel Merman, but then it gravitated towards Betty Buckley in 1776, then Melba Moore in Pearly, Patti LuPone and Evita, and then after that it was just sort of done deal, this is what singing is on Broadway now.
Melba Moore has this effortlessness.
Yeah, and honestly goes even higher than Patti does in Evita. Yeah. Patti just sounds more Broadway in the style that we know from that era.
Patti is working hard.
Yeah.
And she'll say that too.
Oh yeah.
But Melba Moore is just effortless.
And as amazing as she is in that Tony performance, she actually sounds better in later performances. There's a televised version of Pearly from 81, 10 years later that sounds absolutely incredible on. She does a whole bunch of telecast performances for random fundraisers or specials or whatever, and she just sings I Got Love. There's one where she's wearing an outfit that just looks like it's purely made out of fans with a Jerry curl, and she's glorious. But I mean, I can just only imagine that audience loses their shit and is just so stunned by what they're hearing, because it's the sound she makes, as you said, it's effortless, but it's just also otherworldly. Yeah, it's incredible.
She's touched by an angel. That
sure is.
Let's see, what else do I got? Oh, can we give you another underdog?
Yes.
Under the radar. The Urinetown Run Freedom Run.
I have her too.
It's just so fun, and it's so. I mean, when that show came out, the commentary on the art of musical theater, just the constant jokes of, oh, that's a terrible title. Yes, Little Sally. Yes, it is. That was one of the first mainstream Broadway musicals that really did that and did it successfully. And then to give us a song like Run Freedom Run that is just so fun. And Hunter Foster sounds great. And I think doesn't get as much love as much as it should. Yeah.
It's so weird to think about, because there was I don't know, there was that era of 98 to 2004 for theater kids, as we were all sort of coming up from the ranks and getting into our own tastes and minds.
Yeah.
Urinetown sort of came out at the exact moment for a lot of us because we were loving the shows we loved, like our ragtimes and our parades, but there was also a part of us that felt uncool because of, theater is weird and like people break out into song, and Urinetown was sort of the first big musical on Broadway to acknowledge that and do it successfully.
Yes.
And so we could point to it to a lot of our non-theater friends and family and be like, this cynical piece of shit.
This is accessible to you.
Exactly. The downside of that is so many shows have tried to pull a Urinetown and be self-referential and break the fourth wall and comment on the weirdness of musical theater and are just not as good at it because Urinetown, there's really nothing in the text of Urinetown that calls out specific musicals. Some of the staging and designs will do references to it of that original production, but the writing itself is mostly about the formula of musical theater.
Well, and that's the way it should be. The writing is telling the story.
Yes.
Honestly. Here's the story, here's the situation, and here are our characters. All the references, at least in my understanding of the show, all the West Side Story moments, all the...
Yeah.
Like, that's in the staging and the choreography.
The Les Mis stuff, that's all staging, yeah.
Yes.
There's nothing that's like, well, you know what they say, one day more. None of that bullshit.
None of that.
No, it's...
I hate that
the writing. The writing is actually very Weill, Brecht, like Three Penny Opera-esque. And again, what makes it successful is they are acknowledging the formula of how to make a successful musical while also still adhering to that formula. So it's as the show is continuing, you have Lock, Stock, and Little Sally addressing what's happening on stage in the context of how musicals work while still doing the thing and doing it well.
Right.
So it's this really great magic trick, and I love that Tony performance because they actually bookend it with Lock, Stock, and Little Sally.
Yep.
They start with his intro, and thank God they do because, and we'll talk about this in the next episode about Tony snubs, Jeff McCarthy not being nominated for featured actor for that show is stupid. It's stupid. He is so vital to that show's success.
Yeah.
And the way that he and Spencer Caden just like bounce off each other in that opening, and then Hunter Foster does Run Freedom Run, it's incredible. And then they ended with Caden and McCarthy just going, but the title's still terrible. Yes, Little Sally.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Oh, wait. Yeah. That's great.
It's so fun. And like we have the Millie performance that year, which is also really good.
Yeah.
But
we
like,
got to talk about that performance too.
Oh, sure.
That's a great.
I think the three best performances that ceremony are Urinetown, Millie, and Oklahoma. That does Farmer and the Cowmen. Because Into the Woods does their medley, like
their medley with Vanessa Williams,
which the original Into the Woods does, and I don't like it very much. Medleys are very difficult to pull off for me.
But in something like Into the Woods, it helps because there's so much happening.
Oh, sure. And I do wonder if they'll perform on this ceremony, even though...
I have no idea.
We'll see. But I don't know. That's a show where I feel like you gotta do 2 or 3 numbers, not 7 or 8.
But what was great about Run Freedom Run and Forget About the Boy that season is here are 2 of our most solid numbers, our show-stopping numbers that's going to make people want to see more.
Yeah. And also are honest representations of the shows themselves.
Yeah.
Because you'll see some Tony performances where you're like, pretty good, but like that doesn't really reflect what the show is like.
Yeah.
And it's difficult, like we were saying with Wild Party, like how do you market that show on the Tonys?
Right.
And I think they did the best job anyone could
Best
do.
that they could do.
Yeah. I mean, sure, listen, are there people who are going to have problems with that performance? Sure.
Yeah.
But in terms of what that show is, they did the best job anyone could do. And same thing with Urinetown und Millie. I agree with you. Well, you can talk about Millie if you want.
Well, what I love about that number, Forget About the Boy, you have a stage full of amazingly talented women, led by an amazingly talented woman, and it's just so refreshing to see a song called Forget About the Boy. What a great number to have for, little girls out there who just are trying to find their own way and find their own voice, and here's a great song that they want to tap to, and I think that song it's so strong, it's empowering. When there's a lot of musicals, I mean, there's not a lot of empowering ensemble musical numbers for women, I find. And I think Forget About the Boy is one of them. Do you agree?
I don't know. I've always just gravitated towards women material in musicals in general. So the truth is, I don't know. I couldn't agree or disagree.
Well, I think in terms of, I'm trying to think of, like, what's the song from Brigadoon, right? Where they're just like, They're all
Sure.
just like, oh, they're all fawning over a man, and oh, that's amazing. But like, here's a number where there's just these women tap dancing fiercely, just going, forget about the boy. It's so uplifting and refreshing.
It is. Do you like that they actually then ended the performance with the cast coming out and singing the title song for all of 5 seconds, or should it have just ended with "Forget about the boy"?
I don't know if I have an answer to that. I think if I am the organizer of that Tony Awards, being like, we got to bring the cast out, we want the people to see everybody. My zodiac sign is Cancer, so like I have a tremendous guilt, and so I want to include everybody. So if I'm the choreographer or director, I'm like, okay, let's bring everybody out, because if Johnny is feeling left out over there, then he's going to be all upset. That's the kind of person I am. So I don't necessarily mind the whole cast coming out. And
this is why you and I are probably bad at threesomes, because we're like, is everyone having a good time?
Yeah, I would be the one making the snacks for everybody. I was like, do you need a cocktail or something? Oh, do you want? I have some bacon bits.
Yeah. No. I don't know. I don't love them coming out just because I am a big fan of sort of final finishes on a number.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Especially with Sutton standing on that desk, and I'm just such a bottom boy for Sutton. Anything she does, I'm like, yes, just nail it to the wall, please, baby. It's also fun, you have that year with the Foster siblings back to back, and
it's so exciting.
And even though Hunter wasn't nominated, they both get to lead their shows on the Tonys.
Yeah.
And have you read Sutton's book Hooked?
The one where she's knitting?
Yeah.
And how knitting, like, saved her life?
How crafting saved her life, yeah.
I have not read her book.
It's a good book. I highly recommend it, but just they had a lot
Is she a sponsor of this podcast, by the way?
Sutton Foster's a sponsor of my life. She's also teaching these, like, cardio dance classes, and I'm like, how do I get in there? I'm like, how do I get taught by Sutton Foster at a fitness class? I'm sorry, that's been on my vision board since I was 12.
Oh, boy.
But... No, she talks in the book a lot about sort of the hardships of their upbringing. Not necessarily that like they came from poverty, but just their mom had a lot of emotional and mental issues that was a darkening on their lives for a very long time, and just a lot of conflicts. But so she talks about how that year a lot of people thought to themselves, like, oh, these two blessed individuals, they're brother sister, and they're both nominated for Best Musical, and they're leading the Tony Awards. Their lives must be incredible. And she was like, it was actually a really hard year because of, stuff going on with their mom and their dad and all that other stuff. But so that is beside the point. But those are two wonderful moments preserved in amber that we can look back on.
And that's the thing. I don't know. I look at that and I just think, you and I know how hard this business is. And I think most people know how hard this business is.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine someone who was in the business would say, oh, their lives must be so blessed. We know how hard this life is and how hard this business is. To a casual Broadway fan, yeah, I could hear someone saying that, oh, their lives must be blessed. But I don't know. When I saw the two of them on that Tony Awards and their siblings, I celebrated it. And I'm not trying to be all kiss-assy or anything like that, but like, what a cool moment, because that never freaking happens. I don't know if I could name another sibling team other than the Bolgers who were on the Tony Awards, in similar seasons or near, I
think was the year of Newsies was the same year as Peter and the Starcatcher, correct?
It might have been.
It might have been. But I don't know if Peter and Starcatcher performed.
Well, that's the thing, because it was a play that I couldn't perform, and that would have been a brilliant...
That would have been fun.
Honestly, Peter and the Starcatcher, to this day, I was just reflecting on it yesterday, it's still one of my most favorite Broadway experiences I've seen in a theater. It was incredible.
It was so much fun. They might have performed a little something because they had a song. I don't know. The truth is, I don't remember much about the 2012 Tony Awards.
I mean, that was 11 years ago, darling.
I know. I've become such a person since then. But actually, going back to what you were saying about, we look at people with success in this industry and go, oh, how blessed they must be. And there's always stuff you never know about. Even people having these incredible moments in their careers can come at a very hard emotional, physical toll. I mean, as we've learned with Patty, with Evita, like, even though she was a celebrated Broadway star, that was a very difficult year and a half for her.
Yeah.
But I actually want to go into one of my underground performances now, which is Barbara Harris in The Apple Tree.
Oh, thank God.
So Barbara Harris, and I've talked about it a bit, she is one of my favorite Broadway performers of all time, even though she's only been in like 4 shows.
Right.
But
she's incredible.
Incredible. And if you were to watch her clip in Who is Harry Kellerman and Why is he saying those terrible things about me, which is her only Oscar nomination. You watch that scene and then you listen to her or watch her on a telecast doing On a Clear Day You Can See Forever, Hurry, It's Lovely Up Here. And then you go into the Tony performance where she's doing Passionella, Ella into Passionella. The versatility of her talent is incredible. How she can just sort of mold into different characters so naturally. And Mary Martin says this sort of in the introduction for the performance. She was like, to watch someone on stage where it just feels like everything they're saying and doing is coming to them on the spot is a kind of gift that so few people have. And you don't really realize that until you see someone do it for the first time. You're like, oh, that other performance that I once thought was so organic, I'm now seeing like true naturalism on stage, and it's blowing my mind. And she can do that with the weirdest of material. She can do that with a movie where it's very natural, and then she can do that with The Apple Tree, which is incredibly presentational and theatrical. And so her performance as Ella, with the squeaky voice and the little dancing and whatnot, and then going into Gorgeous, where she's just full Broadway brass vocals. But on top of all of that, she also has a very infamous acceptance speech when she wins Best Actress in a Musical, because she goes up on that stage and she basically can't put more than like 5 or 6 words together. And part of it is, she was incredibly shy. She had a great deal of agoraphobia. It's one of the reasons why she ended up leaving the industry. Is she had stage fright. She didn't even really like performing all that much. She preferred teaching acting than doing it. And there's a rumor that she was dating Warren Beatty at the time, because she was, she officially became a big Broadway star with The Apple Tree.
Right.
And the rumor is that he broke up with her like that night in her dressing room before the telecast.
Oh, wow.
And so she, in addition to all the other isms that she had going on with herself, she was having this whole other devastation on her, not to make it all about a man, but like someone you were involved with, who you cared about, just sort of like ending it on what's supposed to be a big night for you. And you can see there's something off with her in that Tony performance, because the moment she finishes the Apple Tree Gorgeous number, she's like, even as she's finishing the final note, her face and her hands just sort of drop, and then once it ends, she doesn't even bow. She just like walks off stage in a daze. And you can tell that something's going on with her emotionally, and she had to sort of suppress it all for 4.5 minutes to do this number. She gives it her all. And the moment it's over, just like the wave of whatever she's feeling before it washes over her again, and she goes back to being the broken person she was before the number started. And it's awful to see.
Yeah.
Because she is so incredibly talented.
I'm going to revisit that one.
Yeah.
So this is what you do. You watch Barbara Harris do her Tony Award performance of The Apple Tree, and then you go into your Sutton Foster Forget About the Boy.
Yes.
To lift up your spirits after that.
As one do.
As one do.
As one do and one should do.
Your chat about her acceptance speech made me think about, not necessarily an acceptance speech, but my favorite, like, awkward interaction, Tony Award presentation into the acceptance speech. And it was for Best Actress of a Musical, and it was the year Patti LuPone won for Evita, and out comes Faye Dunaway. And this was just before Mommy Dearest was released. And Faye Dunaway was like on top of the world. She was untouchable. And so she's like, to all the nominees, I can't, I'm misquoting here, but she says along the lines, to all the actresses who are nominated, don't be intimidated by the click of my heels. I applaud you. It was very condescending and very Faye Dunaway. And then Patti LuPone wins, and she's in this tuxedo, which I know she talks about in Patti LuPone, a memoir. But it's just to see. It's just an interesting clip to see. I recommend watching that because it is fascinating. And Patti LuPone just going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Oh my God. It's great. It's great.
It is great. I think she's wearing the tuxedo because I think she was about to go off and do Les Mouches like right after the telecast. Something
about, yeah. It's been a while since I read Patti LuPone, a memoir.
Yes, the 14th Taylor Swift album. It's also ironic that the two of them are there for that night because they both had Sunset Boulevard and Drew Lloyd Webber drama.
Oh, yes. Which, if you have not listened to, if I'm allowed to talk about another podcast, there's a great podcast called The Sunset Experience.
I think it's, the Sunset Project, maybe?
Something like that. But it's a whole history of Sunset Boulevard, and it's fascinating to hear the stories of Patti LuPone and Faye Dunaway and all that jazz.
Yeah, there are some very interesting Tony acceptances and then Tony presenters. I've talked many times about when Elizabeth Taylor presents Best Musical to 42nd Street and just like being, first of all, unable to read the envelope of all the producers listed, mispronouncing James
Gladiator.
Gladiator. She's unable to say Niederlander, so she calls him Niedelheimer, and then she realizes what she's done, and she goes, "Oh, Jimmy, I'm sorry."
Oh, Lord.
But also she just did Little Foxes, or she was still in the middle of doing Little Foxes on Broadway, and so everyone in the mezzanine is just, it's all the gays, and they're all living for her.
Because it's Liz Taylor.
It's Liz Taylor, and she's having a grand old time, and there's a moment where she's trying to continue on with her speech, but the gays are titillating her too much, so she starts giggling, and she goes, "Stop it!" And it's so good. It's just a true icon star at home in front of 2,000 people. Oh, I love it.
Liz Taylor.
Diamonds. These have always brought me luck.
Can we talk about... I'm actually kind of surprised this is not in your top 5 or 4 or 5, but Michael Jeter and Brent Barrett doing Take a Glass
together
from Grand Hotel.
Yes, the hotel that is grand.
The song itself is fine. It's not the best song ever, but the energy from the chorus, from the dancers, to Brent Barrett and Michael Jeter singing together, and the second, he's just like a dancing rubber band on that horizontal pole.
Sure thing. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's a wonderful performance. No, that's one where I'm like, that's definitely top 10. Do I put it in top 5? Because
maybe not.
And it's one of those things where you start having to split hairs of going, how do I figure this one out? I think that one actually might also be pre-recorded. There's a moment when Michael Jeter is spinning around on the pole. Yeah. Which sounds so Jennifer Lopez and Hustlers. Spinning around on that pole. But he's doing his thing. He's spiraling like a spinny top or whatever, and gets caught by Brent Barrett. And there's something about the way that his mouth moves with the words where I'm like, I'm not entirely sure if this is live or if it's lip synced. Unclear. Because they did do a live vocal for City of Angels that year. I don't know why Grand Hotel wouldn't be, but there are so many decisions that happen at these telecasts that we never know about. For example, the Light in the Piazza performance, which we will get to because it is on my list.
Yes.
There was an audio issue that we didn't know about at the time. Oh. I remember when the telecast happened, everyone's like, "Why the fuck is Vicky holding a
microphone?" I remember that now.
Yeah, and we'll get to her in a second because I love me some Miss Clark if you're nasty. But no, that Grand Hotel performance is great, and it's definitely the best one of the night because it's that City of Angels, Meet Me in St. Louis, Aspects of Love. And I don't think they do anything from the revivals, which is a shame because I was hoping they would do something with Tyne Daly with Gypsy. Which, talk about another Best Actress in a Musical win where the actress goes on stage and everyone is so thrilled. It's unanimous. 1,800 people are on board with this win. Yeah. And it's great to hear. It's so good. And you can see how thankful she is and grateful she is. Because that was a casting that a lot of people had doubts about. And then she came in and crushed it. And everyone's like, okay.
Does she have such doubts like Meryl Streep in Doubt?
She has doubts like Cherry Jones does.
Very good.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Yeah, no, that Grand Hotel performance, that's definitely top 10. It's amazing. It's pretty amazing. And what Tommy Tune does with it, with the choreo.
Yes.
Yeah. Because it's not even like...
It's just joyful. I just find it makes me happy. It makes me as happy as the Forget About the Boy. That is my criteria for like a good Tony Awards performance. If it sparks joy in me, if it makes me lean forward and smile, like I'm going to buy a ticket.
Well, so think about the way that Tommy Tune choreographed in the past. It was never about Newsies style dancing with tumbles and tricks. It was about precision, and it was about how to keep the audience on the edge of their seats of what they were going to do next.
Right.
Not about necessarily impressiveness, but intricacy and inventiveness. So you watch We'll Take a Glass Together, which mostly doesn't have any, outlandish choreography. Like the people in the background, they're mostly just Charlestoning. Yeah. But they're doing it with a very unified kind of way. And then also you watch Our Favorite Son from Will Rogers Follies, which is everyone's just sitting and tapping their hands and tapping their tambourine hats. And you watch Be Italian from 9, and like that's just one woman and a bunch of boys with a tambourine, and it's again, it's just how it all builds is so very exciting, even though they're not doing anything that's like, I could never do that. It's like, no, with some classes you probably could, but that doesn't keep it from being incredible choreography.
Right.
Yeah, I love it.
Sometimes, well, what's great about We'll Take a Class Together is how the choreography is happening in the background.
Yeah.
And it's punctuating what Michael Jeter is doing. So you're seeing all this structure happening in the background, and it's precise, it's clean, it's good, but then the chaos that is Michael Jeter going back and forth, it just makes it thrilling.
You know what it reminds me of? Do you know how the original story of Lucy and Jessie was choreographed in Follies by Michael Bennett?
No, is the short answer to that.
Okay. You can watch it. There's no official footage of that Follies. It's all bootlegs, and some of it is, synced footage with audio. Some of it is silent footage that someone's, put together. But there is somebody who has linked it all together to try to create a Follies bootleg, and it's stunning. But the way they did Lucy and Jessie is, Alexis Smith famously was going to do Losing My Mind with Dorothy Collins. That was going to be a duet between Phyllis and Sally, and they're in rehearsals, and they kind of go through it once. Alexis Smith goes, I don't have a great voice. I can carry a tune, but like Dorothy's the singer. Give her the song. She goes, I'm not really much of a dancer, but I can move and I got great legs. So like, give me a production number. And so they do. They start with Uptown Downtown. It becomes Story of Lucy and Jessie. And the way that they choreographed it, because Alexis is not a dancer, so they can't give her choreography that's like, oh my God, look how amazing she is. They put the entire ensemble in, I think, red and white top hat and tails, facing away from the audience. So it's all back to the audience, and they all move in unison, doing very precise and very simple moves. So what makes it impressive is that it's just 20 people all doing the same thing all at once, but it's not outlandish. Whereas Alexis is running all over the stage facing the audience, so that alone makes her special, because she's the only one facing the audience, and she's not doing anything that's Donna McKechnie, but she's kicking and she's flailing, and it's all lovely, and it looks even more impressive because everyone else is in unison doing something that is not overly impressive.
Simple. Very simple,
yes, and it's very creative choreography and framing your star perfectly, which is exactly how you described Grand Hotel. It's the real dancing is happening behind them,
right?
And it's not so over the top that it's taking away from what's happening in front. It's
right.
just giving it the perfect framing device.
But when you put the two together, it just makes it so much more thrilling.
Oh, yeah. On their own, they're both wonderful. Together, you have legends.
Yes.
Yas. Queen. Okay, give me another one, girl.
Another one? Kristen Chenoweth.
Charlie Brown.
Mm-hmm. My new philosophy. It's joy. It's just joyful. And it was her. I mean, she had been around the block, but this was the show that like catapulted her star.
Yeah.
And it was a new song from a show that everybody knew. And it just kind of, I don't know, it was a star-turning performance, but which is initially a very simple song, but it's just so delightful and quirky and bizarre and fun.
Yeah.
It's what makes musical theater so fun.
It's always difficult to tell just how much magic a performer does with the song they originate until you watch other people do the song.
Correct.
And I've talked about this with Spam a lot, because when we had Peter Duchan on, and I was like, I think they actually got it right by giving featured actress to Sarah Ramirez. I said, you don't realize how much magic Sarah pulled on that role. Sara, until you've seen other people do it. So like the number of people I've seen just not land Diva's Lament in a way that Sarah did. And it's actually, speaking of a solid Tony performance, Sarah does a really great job with Find Your Grail, just like boots the house down vocals.
Belting!
Yeah.
For days!
That is a solid 4 Best Musical Tony performances. We've got Spamalot giving us a solid BB+, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels giving us a solid B+, and then Spelling Bee and Piazza giving us straight A's. Straight A's.
Oh, Spelling Bee, that's a fun one.
I
think, that one.
With Al Sharpton.
That's another one that just kind of took musical theater, because musical theater, there's structure, and then you get shows like You're in Town, who's going to we're going to comment on it, but then you get something like Spelling Bee, who's going to say, hey, we're going to pull Al Sharpton and put him in the musical, and not just Al Sharpton, but also you. I like it when shows flip the script like that.
Yeah.
It's fun. It makes it surprising and unexpected. I forgot about that, and that is a fun song.
I think Spelling Bee is a pretty perfect Tony performance, in the sense that it is creative. It works so well for the telecast on its own, but it's also perfectly representative of what that show was.
Yes.
And what it did. And throwing in those quirky surprises like Al Sharpton, and then allowing time to have the words and their definitions and in a sentence. I mean, because I don't think they even use either of those words in the show. Maybe they use phalange, but they don't use phylactery. Maybe they use phylactery, but they don't use dengue, which is a kind of illness you get from a mosquito bite that results in vomiting, diarrhea, fever. And Al Sharpton goes, "Can you use it in a sentence, please?" When the doctor asked Billy about the symptoms of his dengue, he said it was like there was a race out of my tushy and everybody won. And to watch Bill Irwin lose his shit over that, it's glorious.
I think Spelling Bee, with the success of Spelling Bee, that is a perfect example of why having a televised performance of the Tony Awards, why that's important. Because look how long Spelling Bee ran after that.
Yep.
That is a perfect way of selling the show. Here's the show. This is why it's fun. This is why it's different. And then it ran longer than it probably would have without the Tony Awards telecast.
Absolutely. And honestly, same thing with The Light in the Piazza.
Correct.
Which ended up having the most Tony wins that night, which would have given them a boost on its own. But having that performance as well definitely helped them, because that performance is gorgeous.
Yeah.
The story goes, Victoria Clark's about to go on and do her Florence, Italy, my favorite place on earth. And she's backstage and they're like, Victoria, your mic is out. You gotta hold this mic. You gotta do the whole handheld mic the entire time. She's like, I have a book in my hand. I've got all these things I gotta do with both hands. How am I gonna do this? Like, I don't know, figure it out. You're a pro. So she goes out with the mic.
Yep.
And starts talking, Florence, Italy. And then there's a moment where, and you can't even really hear Kelly at first. I think Kelly's mic is kind of having issues too. She eventually comes back in on the final, but you see a moment where Victoria goes, let me introduce myself. I'm Margaret Johnson. That's my daughter, Clara. And then you can see Vicky look off camera for a second, and it's one of the producers telling her, your mic is back on, put down the microphone. And so she takes it down and you hear, with no amplification, she's a special child. And then her actual body mic comes in. We just arrived. And it's, when you know the story and you watch it, you're like, oh my God, how tense and thrilling.
I can, like, my blood just, like, it just sped up a little bit. My heart just palpitated a little bit. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, imagine being her in that moment. That's incredible.
That alone is why she deserves a second Tony this year for Kimberly Akimbo, besides the fact that she's incredible in the show and just deserves it on her own. But when you know that story, you're like, I'm sorry, why doesn't Victoria Clark have 9 Tony Awards?
Why doesn't Victoria Clark have 9 Tony Awards?
For the same reason Paul Alexander Nolan has no nominations, because the world is cruel. The world is wicked.
The world is cruel. The world is wicked. Okay, I see your Hunchback reference.
Who? Are we talking about B. Arthur still?
I'm right here. Okay.
On that note, let's take another break.
Billy, I beg to differ with you.
How do you mean?
You're the top.
Yeah?
You're an arrow collar. You're the top. You're a Coolidge dollar. You're the nimble tread of the feet.
And we're back.
Hello.
I'm getting so good at and remembering my breaks.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. She's a professional.
Can I give you something that also might not be on anybody's list except my own?
Please.
Every time, so for those that might not know, I do host Musical Mondays in New York City. Mm-hmm. And every time Raise Your Voice from Sister Act comes on, it just makes me happy. Because when you're watching it, initially like, okay, well, this song is kind of like, meh, it's all right. But Patina Miller's slaying, and there's Marla Mandel, and oh, yeah, she can belt. But by the end of that song, I'm like on my feet. I'm smiling from ear to ear. That is a slow burn of a song. But to see a stage full of character actresses goes back to my forget about the boy. I guess I just like musical theater women. I really, really do.
We celebrate women here.
Just to see a bunch of character actresses belting their tits off, singing "Raise Your Voice," it brings me joy. Yeah. And I watched it yesterday in preparation for this. And why does it bring me joy? Is because we live in such a Broadway body world right now, and just to see every different shape and every different skin tone on that stage made me so happy. There was not one bicep or pec. No offense to any pectoral dancer out there, but sometimes I just want to see a human being on a Broadway stage. And that's what Raise Your Voice does for me. It makes me so happy.
Yeah. I was never the biggest fan of Sister Act when I was on Broadway, but I always did like that number. I thought that number is such a well done piece of musical theater.
That's a show that has some good songs and not a great book, but what's good is really, really good.
Yeah. It's been 12 years since I've seen it, so like I am making a comment on a show I don't know super well. I'm just going off of my memory from 12 years ago. What I will say is I have listened to some of the cast recordings since. And there's only the London cast recording. There's no Broadway one.
Right.
But I will listen to Fabulous Baby, which is fun. But I very recently was on the treadmill listening to Raise Your Voice. I really like listening to boppy musical theater tunes because I do want something to jam out to, but I also want a structure. I like something that builds. And something about a lot of modern pop music is it doesn't necessarily build. It's sort of like one, add an 11 all the time, which we love it for. But it's also why I like listening to like Legally Blonde on the treadmill. But Raise Your Voice, maybe it's just because like I've been in such like a weird place these last few months, but I was on the treadmill listening to Raise Your Voice, and when they go out, raise your soul, and Patina Miller goes, you guys are going to be fabulous, and they start singing Raise Your Voice, I just started crying. Oh. Because it was just so wholesome and endearing. Like they finally succeeded at something.
Yeah.
She's excited for them. It's like it's affirmation. They're all pumped to like go out and do something. And I was just like, yeah, I love it when people are nice and people succeed. It's really when nice people succeed, I really like it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when Hunter Foster and Sutton Foster succeed at the Tony Awards, you celebrate that.
Everyone knows that Hunter and Sutton Foster are the worst people in the entire industry. No, I think Sutton and Jonathan Groff might be the only two people I've never heard a single bad word about from anyone. Even my most hateful of friends, who I love very dearly, have never said a bad word about either of them. And I'm like, wow, they must truly be Angelas of the world.
And Angelica Houston.
Angelica Houston did the thing.
Gotta go.
No.
Gotta go.
Angelica Houston did the thing. I haven't done one in a while. Let me do one. I want to talk for a quick second about the OBC in 1992 of falsettos.
Oh.
For quite a few reasons.
Very good.
Which we'll also link to the OBC Once on This Island. I really love when small musicals would perform on the Tonys and get the big orchestra treatment. So rather than just do like the teeny tiny band,
that little chamber,
yeah, they're like, no, we're at the Gershwin. We've got a 25-piece orchestra at our disposal. Let's fucking beef this shit up for the Tonys. So they're doing the show with a big ass brass section, and it sounds thrilling.
I gotta watch that one again.
Oh yeah, so they open with Falsetto Land, welcome to Falsetto Land, and then it goes into My Father's a Homo, into the baseball game, and it's just so. First of all, it's perfectly 90s because it's big. And it's also an audience that's just so thrilled that Falsettos is finally on Broadway after like 12 years.
Yeah,
and there was also a lot of what ifs, because there was a Graziella Danielle production that happened in Hartford, Connecticut that might have come to Broadway, and then that didn't end up happening. And it's like Falsetto's road to Broadway is very interesting, and I hope to do an episode on the show one day because it's a long process. But that audience is so thrilled that it's there, that it's happened, that it's good, with a lot of actors that have been in the community for a while, and they're all being celebrated. And so the energy in the theater is great. The performance itself is great. The orchestra is incredible. And just, they get all the right moments. They get a great laugh on them. My father's a homo. My mother's not thrilled at all. And then when they're doing the baseball game, Barbara Walsh gets a great joke on the just what I wanted at a little league game. My ex-husband's ex-lover. Isn't that what every mother dreams about, having at a little league game? And the audience is here for it. And it's just so good. And they capture a great chunk of the story. And it gets you interested because you're like, who are these people? What's their journey? We see Marvin and Wizard have a history, but what is it exactly? What's going to happen with them? Makes you lean in. Like the book. We lean in.
No.
Yeah.
So how do you connect that to Once on This Island?
With the orchestra. Another small show with a small orchestra that's given a big sound. To hear Lilius White come in, you got to need a helping hand. A fish has got to learn to swim on land. And then to hear what's probably 30 pieces come in. Bum, ba-da-dum! It's so good. And then I love that the revival of Once on This Island actually kind of followed a similar structure with the OBC. Right.
Yeah, I remember they did. Yes.
They start a little differently. So the OBC does part of the human heart, and allows LaChanze to open her big ol' mouth and let us dive in like Pinocchio and the Great Whale. As she goes, part of the human heart, and we hear bum ba dum bum bum ba dum ba dum bum ba dum bum. And the revival does something similar with a different song. They do the storm, and it's the whole idea is that it is we're showing that this is a story being told, and so both productions start differently, but they have the same attitude of we're going to show that this is a story being told to a little girl, and then we have Ti Moon enter, and then we come right on in on what's her face. She lost her fear. What's the name of the character?
Which character? Mama? Asaka?
Asaka. Asaka was near. Although I think they say Mother Earth in...
Oh, yeah, because it's, yeah.
Yeah, cause instead of saying Asaka was near.
Mother Earth is near.
Yeah.
Just make it accessible for the fans at home.
Exactly. But they go into the walk with me, little girl, and then they include that little bit that Ti Moon does after Mama Will Provide in the show. Which is, so in the actual Once on This Island show, Mama Will Provide ends. And then
she sings, Oh, Daniel,
Mama will provide when you awaken. But they put it into the number for the telecast, both productions. Mm-hmm. And it's also cool to see like how they alter it differently. So like with the revival, they have Haley Kilgore just hold that note for a very long time. The gods will smile, they'll smile. And because LaChanze has already done that for Part of the Human Heart, she just pops up on they'll smile! And it's just so joyful and fabulous and theatrical and beautiful. And again, I love hearing a big orchestra play a small little score.
Yeah.
It's so good. Whatever small shows are performing this year on the Tonys, Kimberly Akimbo, Janine, Baby, Honey Boo Boo Child, and John Clancy, please give us a 30-piece orchestration on whatever number you're doing, because I want it. I love the orchestrations for that show on Broadway, but
I still need to see it.
I mean,
I'll get there.
You know how I feel about Miss Tesori.
Yes. Give us another one.
Yes. Well, I was say, speaking of a Tony performance that's not good, the original Caroline or Change. But we're not going to do that. We're leading with positivity today. Big Deal, Beat Me Daddy, 8 to the Bar, from the 1986 Tony Awards, I think. It's the year of Mystery of Edwin Drood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you not remember it?
It's been a minute.
It's Wayne Cilento and some other person, and actually future Tony winner Katie Huffman in the ensemble. It's just, it's the one number from Big Deal that's good, and it just so happens to be like the last great dance number that Fosse choreographed, and he filmed it too. That's the other thing about Dreamgirls in the Chorus Line that no one knows, is that Michael Bennett actually directed the cameras on those numbers, so he knew exactly what to cut to.
So he knew what to sell.
Yep. Because there are two really great nuances in the Chorus Line performance, two great close-ups, where when Zach is calling out all the women of who's going to stick around, the camera slowly zooms in on Donna McKechnie. Mm-hmm. And then when he calls Cassie, it follows her to the line, which is just a great, cinematic moment. And then when he calls the boys' names and finishes, there's a quick cut to one of the guys who didn't make it. And you just watch the devastation on his face and him having to leave. And then they go back to the rest of the number. And I love those nuances. And Dreamgirls, it's the same thing. He catches a lot of the nuances. But
it's very cinematic.
Yeah, which it's gotta be, because even you're doing something that's theatrical, but you gotta make it work for a new medium. So you gotta find ways around it. I mean, there are some Tony performances that are just filmed so beautifully, and others that I'm like, what are we doing here? Why are we doing all the constant swoopings and sweepings? How about some close-ups? How about some, peripheral vision shots, whatever we would call those? I don't know.
I'm surprised we haven't brought up, close-ups and visuals. Circle of Life from The Lion King.
Show.
I mean, I feel like that's a very obvious choice, but that show has been around for so long now that you say Circle of Life and you know exactly what it is. It's not a surprise anymore.
Yeah.
But when it first came out, you got to see what it was going to be with the puppetry and all that. But with the close-ups, what I like about that, I remember there's one specific shot where you see the elephant get through the eye and go, oh, that's how they do that. Oh, there's a person in each one of those legs. How clever.
Yeah.
Very clever.
Lion King is one of those performances where they really led with their best foot forward, and they didn't have to.
Right.
It was such a ginormous hit, still is, that they didn't have, they could have been secretive and done some other random number like they did with, the Hello Dolly revival, like, fuck you, if we can't, film in our theater, we're just gonna have David Hyde Pierce come out and sing a number no one cares about.
Oh, that was disappointing.
It was so stupid. Scott Rudin, pompous asshole. Toxic asshole, Scott Rudin, as I call him. But Lion King was like, no, we're going to actually give the world what it's been asking about and show you how we do Circle of Life.
Right.
And because they also were like, we've got nothing to lose here. Like, even though we show you what is still the best number in that show, we know you're going to come see us, especially because if this is the only thing we're giving you, you're going to want to see the rest of it. And it was a very smart, very powerful performance. That was a good year for performances because we had Lion King doing that. We had Ragtime doing their opening, which is also incredible.
Stunning.
And a really clever compression of what is a 9-minute opening.
Yeah.
And then also Sideshow, just doing simple. We've got Emily and Alice giving you their all, belting, and just like really nailing it. Oh, God, do they nail it. It's so wonderful. 3 glorious Tony performances back to back.
Did Parade in 99, did they have a Tony Awards performance?
They did. And I talked about this last week where I had not seen Parade. I guess it'll be 2 weeks from now when this episode comes out. But I had not seen Parade when it came out. I was 9. But my parents did. And I watched the Tony performance. It's Brent Carver and Carolee doing This Is Not Over Yet into what is probably 12 or 13 actors in the ensemble, finishing with the Old Red Hills at Home.
I remember that. I remember when that performance was televised, and I was very, I was into it.
Yeah.
I loved it. And then I never heard it again until college, when people were like, oh, what, this musical Parade? I'm like, oh, now I know what this is.
That's the Jason Robert Brown narrative for the late 90s, early 2000s of it comes in, it's a really big deal to the inner circle of theater people, and then it takes 2 or 3 years for other theater people to catch on to it.
Yeah.
And again, like The Wild Party, that is a show that's really difficult to market, and they did pretty as well as you could for that show.
Right.
Another Hal Prince production, also difficult to market, also produced by Livent Inc. Kiss of the Spider-Woman, which actually I might put that in my top 5. I think that's a glorious Tony performance. They have the audacity to start with a 90-second book scene of Brent Carver and Anthony Crivello, and it's tense. It's a tense scene, and then going right into Where You Are, which is just fabulous.
But that is a fair representation of what that show is. Mm-hmm. To go from jail cell, tension, 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 and then lush, fabulous musical theater numbers. That's an escape. You have to paint that picture. Because if you're coming in expecting, yes, you will get Cheetah Rivera dancing her and singing her tits off, but you got to know where you're being set.
You got to know where you are.
Yeah. Hey.
Well, because it is showbiz. Razzmatazz has Chicago, but there is an underlying tension to it all. There's a danger to it all, which makes you lean in. And that's something that Cheetah just always has had as a person. She's very good at doing pure joy, but she also can do seductive danger.
Yes.
And it's so fun to watch her just be celebratory in that number and reveling in the talent of herself while also having that edge. It's a very well choreographed number. It's a very good Rob Marshall production number. I just think that is a perfectly executed Tony performance. I think that might be my controversial number 5 in my top 5.
Ooh.
Just because it's not
I don't
always
think it's that controversial.
No, but I think people they'll think of Dreamgirls and they'll think of Evita and they'll think of Chorus Line. They'll think of the shows that are purely.
They'll probably think of Les Mis as well, which we have not mentioned once.
Yeah. Well, I do love the original Les Mis performance, but I also have some mic issues with it. And I don't love the original Marius. I think they do a good job of cutting together a performance on the Tonys. I think there are things that make it not quite perfect for me. One is the Marius, and one is the mic issues. Because I know when he and Judy start doing the "Tomorrow You'll Be Worlds Away," Judy's mic's not fully in. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Of the 2 people here, the one person I need the mic of is Mike Kunze.
Exactly.
And I know she just did Rags 5 minutes earlier, but I'm sorry. I can't get enough. I'm a hungry, hungry hippo. Give me my Kunze.
Wow.
Yeah.
Give me my Kunze.
Give me my Kunze.
Let's see. I want to make a controversial statement then. So your controversial was, top 5 being Kiss of the Spider-Woman. I'm going to give you a controversial statement saying that I don't care for the Wicked Tony performance.
I don't think that's that controversial.
Well, that's good because many people freaking love it. Maybe I'm so aware of it because it gets played every single week at every musical Mondays I get to go to. I think, Adina does what Adina does, but she's not in her best vocal moment there.
Yeah.
And it's fine. The show is still running, obviously, so it's not. But for me, it's the moment where you're trying to have this like tender moment between Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel, and you hear, clip! I hope you're happy. You're just trying to have that tiny, tender moment. All you hear is the mic take up. Oh, the carabiner is in. She's secure.
Yeah.
I just think that's funny.
It is funny. The Wicked performance, it's not bad.
That's not bad.
No.
But it's not just the vote. It's not the best.
It doesn't do justice to either of them, really.
True.
As someone who saw them live, and there are plenty of videos of them in that production where you can hear just how good Idina sounded when she was in the right vocal health. And that number, I mean...
And after 8 shows a week and having done a matinee and then driving over to Radio City, I get it.
Yeah.
You can't blame her.
You can't blame her. It's a tough thing in general.
But it's unfortunate that that is what's being immortalized in gay bars at Musical Mondays now. You know, that's the unfortunate part of it.
It's also, I mean, they were right to pick that number.
Of course.
But also, I mean, that number also, I think the power of the final 90 seconds of that song is in the waiting for it for like 7 minutes, which you can't really do in 3 minutes.
Right.
3 minutes is not the same as 7. If ever there was a time where we needed Michael Bennett to whip out his big old dick and say to the Tonys, you're going to give us 7 minutes, it's Joe Mantello with his big old take me out baseball bat saying, give us 7 minutes. I want Idina and Kristen to really ride out this train, and the Tonys to say, but of course, you're Wicked. You're the biggest hit of the year. We'll give you whatever you want. Boy from Oz, flop.
Oh, yeah.
No. Boy from Oz actually is a fun performance.
Hugh Jackman does a really fun job.
And it's fun to watch Sarah Jessica Parker ride the train.
Oh, and it's really fun to watch Christina Applegate make fun of herself. Do you remember that bit?
Yes.
I'm totally sidetracking here.
I think that's the following year.
I think so, too. But it's like, and now, ladies and gentlemen, Christina Applegate, she walks down the stairs and then she falls, and it makes me laugh.
It's a great
Not
moment.
a Tony performance, but it is also a Tony performance.
It's a Tony... Yes, it is a performance. Honey. Yeah. Give me another one, Gur.
I've decided to marry you. The Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder.
Which also gets played a lot in Musical Mondays, I have found.
Yes, it has. But do you know, it's the show... I don't think... When that show came to Broadway, I don't think anybody expected it to do as well as it did. Mm-hmm. And I think that Tony Award performance... really sold people and just said, well, this is fun, this is ridiculous, let's go see what the show is about. I think it's a solid performance, and you have to be, because that is a literal musical farce happening on stage. Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that people don't realize, because with Gentleman's Guide, I mean, we hear these stories of shows that went on the Tonys and changed their whole financial narrative. Like Evita came to Broadway with a huge advance, and then the critics were sort of cool to it, and they had to really work hard to keep the momentum going, and then they performed on the Tonys and they win their 7 awards and business picks up again.
Yeah.
And we hear about how Gentleman's Guide was sort of on death's door, and then they win Best Musical and it turns around. But it's not just that, it's they won Best Musical and they had a nice performance on the Tonys that engaged audiences.
Right.
And that is something that I think a lot of shows don't really take into account. They're like so reliant on the win itself. I'm like, no. These are your 4 minutes. Use them. Use them. Yeah. And think about how you're using them. What is it that you're leading with? You are not just trying to sell your show to as many people as possible. You want to be very honest about what it is you're selling. Don't give them a fun number if it's the one fun number in your dour show. But also give us something to lean into. If that means fucking around with a medley and adding some narration that's not there just so everything makes sense in context, fucking do it, you know?
Yeah.
The shows that take a risk and make those creative choices are the ones I find that do the best. Ironically, this comes out of Gentleman's Guide, where that wasn't really the case. They just sort of did the number, but they did introduce it in a fun way with Jefferson Mays doing all the different characters within like 30 seconds.
Because that is a big part of it, too.
Yeah. And it sets the audience up to laugh for the rest of the number.
Exactly.
They get into the silliness and they are enjoying it and they're on a high. So Bryce and Lisa and Worsham, what's her last name? It's Worsham is her last name. What's her first name?
I don't know.
It's Lisa O'Hare. Lauren Worsham. The 3 of them, it sets them up for success.
Yeah.
And it's a fun number and definitely was a high point in the show itself. So they were right to do it. It's a good number. Yeah.
Now you give me one.
Okay. What else do we have? Okay, do we want to do a big number or a small number?
Yes.
Jesus Christ. Okay. I'm going to say... Ooh, okay, we're gonna go old school for a second. Back to the 1969 Tonys.
Yes.
We haven't really gone into Promises much, but I would like to hold on. We mentioned it, and we can go into it a little bit more in a second. But the other performance, which was the opening number for this Tony telecast, Life Is from Zorba.
Oh.
I love this Tony performance. It is so well filmed. It is so interesting. It makes me lean in. And the actress who's leading the troupe, because it's everyone sitting in chairs sort of in a circle because they're about to tell the story of the Zorba story. What's it about? It's what every story is about. It's about life. And you know what life is. And they do the intro, life is, da 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 da. And then it all builds. And our narrator stops everyone in her long black dress and her big old eye makeup. And we just get the classic Kander Nebb vamp. And when I just mean they were good at vamps. Do 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 do. And it's just a number that builds. Like, it starts off loud and brash, and then it all cuts out and goes small to big, and just watching it happen that way is so exciting to me.
Nice.
I love that. I love it. It's a great performance that not a lot of people talk about.
Not exactly expecting to hear Zorba today.
Zorba!
I'm not mad at it.
It's a great number.
Not mad at it. There's one. You said Zorba. It's like, oh, I have to remember this, and I forgot. But it'll come back.
She'll come back.
She'll come back. She'll be back. To the point where I don't even think I wrote it down. I'm that bad.
You are that bad. There are a whole bunch of others we could talk about, but at this point we're just going to be here forever.
I know.
We have the Full Monty with Let It Go. I love that Tony performance.
That one's fine for me.
I think it's a lot of fun. I like it. I also love watching once they fully hang dong, seeing Gwyneth Paltrow in the audience be like, oh my.
Ooh, pearl clutch.
She's like, oh no, a penis. That's not part of my diet.
Oh, wait. Jane Krakowski in 9.
But she doesn't perform on the Tonys.
She doesn't?
So they do a little bit of the overture, and then Antonio Banderas does Guido's song.
Okay. Didn't they do the whole she comes down in the sheets on the Tony Awards? Was that just a clip? Am I just making this up?
They might have just shown the clip.
Huh.
Yeah.
Because I remember watching that telecast just like going, wow.
They might have shown, a clip from the show when they presented her the award, which is something they started doing in the late 90s into the early 2000s. But yeah, because Call from the Vatican's never been done on television.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
They wanted to do it with Anita Morris, and the Tony said absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
No.
Shifting now, because I remembered what I wanted to talk about. The La Cage aux Folles performance with all the queens on stage, tap dancing, singing, and then George Hearn coming out in a tuxedo with a caricature of him as Zaza behind him. And it's a great performance. It is not in my top just because I want to see the character Alban. I want to see him in drag.
Yeah.
He sings I Am What I Am in drag. I understand from George Hearn's perspective, in that time, it was a different time, he wanted to come out and sing dressed as himself.
Yeah.
I can respect that, but it could have been such a more powerful moment, especially in the mid-'80s when that show came out, especially with everything going on.
Yeah.
Just to hear I Am What I Am sung as it's supposed to be sung by a drag performer.
It's also, that performance is very representative of how that production sold itself to America in order to succeed,
right.
Which was like glitz and glamour first and then be moved later. Like, don't think of it as gay, just think of it as Broadway.
Right.
And
I think of Al Pacino in the Angels in America movie, where he's like in the office on the phone and it's like, have you seen La Cage? Best thing on Broadway, maybe ever.
After telling...
Say, go see Cats.
Yeah, telling conservative politicians and their wives to go see Cats instead. Yeah. You'll love it. It's singing, dancing Cats. But, it's a good performance.
It is. Oh, I'm not saying it's...
I know, but I'm saying I agree with you. It's a good performance. It could have been great if George were in drag. And honestly, much as I love the Cagelles, I would have really liked it if they had set up the number more instead of just like, here's our dancers, now here's George, and given us a little of the context for that number, because that number is so powerful.
Yeah.
In a show that I don't love, but that moment is so heartbreaking and then becomes so defiant, and just like Defying Gravity, like And I Am Telling You, it works like gangbusters, any production of it you see. Because by that point, the audience is so in love with Alban, and even the ones that kind of thought of him more as a clown until that point, their hearts do break for him because they see the hurt that he's feeling from this betrayal and this rejection.
They do that successful thing that is make you laugh and then kick you in the balls.
The best dramas have humor in them because you have to dismantle your audience with humor before you go for the jugular.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what a jugular, George Hearn.
With how he sort of sings.
What I am. That's very good.
Yeah. It's what and so what? It's like very Sweeney. He goes, and so what if I love each feather?
Right? It makes me go right back into like the Forbidden Broadway. A Queenie Sweeney.
Oh my god. Okay. Let me find another one. Another one I really like. I love. This one is just for the pure dance of it all and to watch someone just serve cunt. Debbie Allen doing America in West Side Story.
Yes!
And it's also, I think, the only professional footage we have of that OG choreography of America. Because the movie, it's very altered.
Yes. Well, and then, America is expanded.
Yeah.
Plus, you throw in the Shark Boys in there, too. It's not exactly the original.
No, it's not at all the original. But they have moments of it. And then the Tony performance, even though they are missing about like a minute's worth of choreo, it is like 80% the number as it was on stage.
Preserved.
Yes. And so you get to, and while we never have professional footage of Cheetah doing that number, unfortunately, the next best thing is Debbie Allen.
Yes.
Who is just absolutely incredible, who doesn't have joints, I'm pretty sure.
Is she just a dancing noodle?
It's just jello in her body. She's like, what? She's like, what's so hard? What? Doesn't everyone's foot go to their eyeball?
Can't you just like bring your leg over your head like that? No.
Yeah, just no one else can do that.
No, I don't understand.
With also no bones, no body fat. It's just all ligaments. It's great.
Ligaments and dancing.
Ligaments. Talk about a good Tony's that night. You had Debbie Allen. You had Patti LuPone.
Patti
LuPone. All the gays that were born on that night.
We haven't talked about the Rent performance yet.
No. I remember talking about it in the Rent episode, but I don't remember what we said. What is your take on the Rent performance?
I just think, if you think about the moment of, well, what Rent stood for, and everything that, with Jonathan Larson's passing, and the journey of Rent, just that song, for me, here's the thing. As you're setting it up, you gotta go back and watch this clip, and you gotta watch Nathan Lane's introduction of Rent, because he's got some great one-liners. But then to hear, I don't know, Seasons of Love, Like Tomorrow, you hear those chords and you just go, oh, okay, here we go. But then it's like, oh wait, this is a good song and I do love it. And to see the 1996 costumes, to see the original performers, to see those 1996 eyebrows. Hello. But to hear some of the vocals that were you can only hear on the recording, just to see it too, it is Broadway history. And then they go into La Vie Boheme, which is... Well, that's the other thing. Yeah. You're saying, hey, I'm Joe Mantello, here's my baseball bat, I want 7 minutes. They gave him 10. Yeah. You know, like, they gave you the emotion and they gave you the fun. Mm-hmm. They told you, this is exactly what our show's going to be. We know exactly what the show is and you have to see it. Yeah. And I think, it grabs you. It grabs you and you pulls you. And we talked about leaning forward. This one grabs you. Yeah. It's very captivating, especially with all the behind-the-scenes emotions happening with it. Like, it was the show. How could you not root for it? You can tell at certain Tony telecasts which is the show that has just everything going for it. It has the momentum, it has the praise, it has the love, it's a cultural moment. Yeah. And it doesn't happen super often. You know, you have Rent where that's happening. You have that with Hamilton. You have that with the chorus line. You kind of have it with Les Mis that year for a show that was not, born on Broadway. The Tony audience is very receptive to it. They're also very receptive to all of Phantom's wins. When you watch that Tony telecast, they are very on board for Judy, for Michael, for, everything that they get. It's always, I don't know, I love that energy. I love it when it's a community truly celebrating. That's the stand-up point of Rent. Like, you could feel the community, not just on stage, but in that theater, and I think that transports through the screen as well. Yeah. I think you can really feel that. I think that's why that is a stand-up performance. Yeah, and I think that often now, because everyone wants their flowers and everyone wants to be supportive, everyone is like us at a threesome. They want to make sure every show is having a good time. A lot of times the response is still enthusiastic, but it's all
much the same for each performance, so you don't really get a sense anymore of like what everyone's truly behind. And I don't think it's necessarily mean-spirited to have genuine affection for one show over another. That's just, that's just sort of the way this works. And they're already winners by being on the telecast and being preserved in general,
right.
But there is a joy from the audience from watching falsettos finally get to be on Broadway, from the audience loving Once on This Island. In fact, the inverse of this, you can tell how much the Broadway audience is so anti-Miss Saigon that year, even though it is the biggest hit of the season.
Right.
They are so much more on board for Will Rogers Follies or Once on This Island winning. And Once on This Island goes home completely empty-handed, but Will Rogers Follies walks away with Best Musical, and everyone is just like, thank fucking God.
Yeah.
We're tired with the British invasion, and we're kind of pissed off Miss Saigon is, succeeding as hard as it is.
But the helicopter.
In the car. That's actually a pretty solid Tony performance, but they do something weird that a lot of other shows did, like Secret Garden and Tommy and the original Into the Woods, where they filmed stuff in the theater as sort of like a montage and then cut to the theater where they film something live. So like they do these 2 minutes of all these moments from the stage show, and they have, Lea Salonga singing, "You will not touch him, don't touch my boy." And then they cut to American Dream. And I'm like, just do American Dream. Just do American Dream. Jonathan Pryce can sell it. Same thing with Secret Garden. Like, Secret Garden actually goes in and out. They'll like show something in the theater, then show something on the Minskoff stage, and then go back to the theater. It's all
a little chaotic.
Little chaotic, but it's fine. We let him be. Same thing. I think we do the same thing with Tommy. Let me do two more. Our Dueling Anything Goes is.
Yes. Okay, there is something so deliciously dated about the Patti LuPone version, because Patti LuPone's performance is great, but just seeing the ladies in their bikini sailor outfits, which is like so weird, but I'm into it.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where it's a choice.
It's a choice,
but it's a well executed choice. So even though it may not make dramatic sense, they all look great. They sound great, and we let it go because just on the chemical level, it works.
Right. But now there's a rawness, and it's weird because it's anything goes, but also because it's Patti LuPone, there's like a little bit of a raw edge to her Reno Sweeney compared to Sutton Foster's, and that whole production, that is slick, that is clean, that is tight, it's beautifully executed, but it's a little too polished.
Sure, but I think that just sort of shows you how Broadway, the direction it goes in, starting from the 90s onward. I feel like both performances are great in very different ways. What Sutton's does is there's a confidence to it that comes from the polishedness of it all, where it's sort of, you're in good hands and you can sort of just relax and enjoy it. And the Patti version, it is professional, but there's a bit of that 80s coked out zany energy to it.
You said it. I didn't want to say it, but you said it.
Yeah, no, it's the 80s. Everyone was on coke. Just as everyone was on coke in the late 70s. But even the choreography of the two are just so very different. Like, Kathleen Marshall doesn't really do manic. Right. She does very at ease, which is not to say lazy or anything like that, but she isn't gonna pound you over the head with stuff, whereas the 1980s Anything Goes, that choreography, especially when they get to the we know exactly what we're talking about.
Very gay.
That was very gay. But what they're doing there, it is manic, and not that it's out of control, it's just, it is so much energy. And the audience is into it because the audience is also coked up. But it's rather than have a preference for one over the other, I just love how they sort of bookend Broadway in two very different eras. In the same way that the two She Loves Me's at Roundabout sort of show where Roundabout was when the first She Loves Me happened, as opposed to where it got to when the second She Loves Me happened, where they were financially, like the money they were able to spend on the show.
Right.
How much bigger and brassier it could be. Whereas the Kunze one, it was like two synthesizers and a prayer. But I still love it.
Is that going to be the name of your cabaret?
Two synthesizers and a prayer?
Yeah.
Sure. Just like two synthesizers and a prayer. I want to get you there. Give me another one, Gur.
I will say, golly gee. I'm not a fan of Dear Evan Hansen, but I will say the intro of Ben Platt of it all, Dear Evan Hansen, it did make me lean in. It is a solid number. Tap, 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 waving through a window.
Unlike Anything Goes, tap, tap.
No, not tap, 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 tap. Anyway, so despite it not being my favorite show, I do think their Tony performance is solid because they give you the song itself. It's an earworm. His performance, it's award-winning. But what I like about it is the show shows you what you're going to see. It with all the social media and the screens and all that and the chaotic movement of the choreography. Like it's like, okay, I get an idea of what this show is. Therefore, it is a solid Tony performance. I think.
It's solid. That was a year where I didn't really love any of the Tony performances, so that is one of the better ones for sure. But none of that year took my breath away.
Right.
Also, guys, if it feels like we're just talking about every Tony performance, just know this show has been televised for almost 60 years. And
it's a lot.
And if we're averaging like 6 performances per telecast, which honestly the average is probably a little higher, that's like almost 400 performances. We're simply talking about like 60 of them.
Right. But I'm bringing up Ben Platt because right now he's his star. That Dear Evan Hansen launched his theatrical career. He had been around, but now he's in Parade.
He's back. The moment has become him again.
Yeah, exactly.
After the movie, and now he's back with Parade and doing a lovely job in it. I'm gonna do a sort of a rapid fire of a couple,
and I got one more for you. So you do yours, and I'll
because most of these I don't necessarily want to get into in depth. So I'm just gonna say. On big production number levels, I really am into the revival of Pippin, going from Corner of the Sky into Magic to Do. I think that they do a really lovely job. The inverse of that is the Color Purple revival that goes from Mysterious Ways into I'm Here.
Cynthia Erivo.
And set up for success with Danielle Brooks and Heather Headley. And I also love with Heather coming on and the audience sees her and they all immediately start applauding before she's even begun singing.
Because it's Heather Headley.
It's Heather Headley with her Heather Headley arms. I saw that revival 3 times. I've talked about it before. I always loved it, but I got to see it once more with Heather the night before the Tonys, and it's one of the greatest theatrical experiences I've ever had.
Oh, wow.
Book of Mormon doing I Believe, which is not a big production number. It's just Andrew Reynolds.
And he sells it.
He sells it. And it, again, is a perfect representation of that show and the style of humor it is.
Yes. Christine Ebersol, Grey Gardens. Not for you?
Not for me.
Oh, but see, that was the song. I watched that song. I was like, I want to see this show. And I think that's maybe the strongest song in the show. But it sold me.
Well, again, that's just me having... When that performance came on, I had seen it at Playwrights. I saw it on Broadway, and then I saw the closing performance. And it was one of those things where I had seen it, and then I watched the Tonys, and I was like, this does not accurately represent how incredible she is and how incredible the show is. But I also don't know what it's like to be someone who didn't know Grey Gardens very well to see that performance. I'm just very, very protective of my baby, especially because that was the year of Spring Awakening, and I've said this before. Like, I was that little asshole where all the kids were going Spring Awakening for the win, and I'm like Grey Gardens. I literally sat there in my Grey Gardens t-shirt, which I still own, and all my Grey Gardens pins, because they had
nerd.
They had a whole bunch of pins with all different quotes from the show. It's a goddamn beautiful day. Will you shut up? Not today, Geraldine. That was my sobriquet. Daddy's Girl, things like that. A couple other ones I want to just rapid fire. In the Heights, 96,000.
Yeah.
Great. Solo performance, Audra McDonald doing Raunchy, Cartwheel with no hands. I think that we call that an aerial, right?
Is that what they call that?
I don't know. I'm not a gymnast.
We didn't know what acupuncture was before.
I know. What are words? Words. I'm so sick of words. Gypsy.
That's one we got to talk about. Which one?
Okay.
Which one?
Bernadette
Peters.
Yep.
Yes, Bernadette Peters. No offense, Patti LuPone, but Bernadette Peters doing Rose's Turn on the Tony Awards. Like, I will admit, in 2003, I did not know Gypsy very well. I had never seen a production. I'd seen the movie once when I was a kid and didn't get it. But I'm obsessed with Bernadette Peters. But her performance, especially when she does that Bernadette Peters thing, when it goes to do, why did I do it? Yeah. And it was just uplighting, and she's like looking. The stillness of Bernadette Peters. I was like, what is Gypsy?
Yeah.
What is this song?
Absolutely. No, it makes you lean in. There's a moment in the Patti Everything's Coming Up Roses that every time it takes me out, which is when she runs over to the wagon and just starts shaking it like Medea. And I'm like, oh, God. For me, that was representative of that production, which I did not hate.
No, I saw it 4 times.
I liked it, but there was very much an aura of that show of everyone involved being like, we are actors and we are acting, and no one's ever acted this show like we've acted it before. Really? So here we are with it as actors. This may be a musical, but we're actors. Yes. And that honestly came from the head of Arthur Lawrence, who very much just would tout all the time. It's never been done like this before because everyone's acting, and then everyone in that company sort of dissipated that same way of like, yes, we're acting. We're actors.
Tell me more about acting.
The way just Patty Pone would always be like, I mean, we started rehearsals with just like 2 weeks of table reads. You never do that because we're actors. And I'm like, yes, we get it. You're actors. It's not even the best acted musical I've ever seen. So calm down. But
what is the best acted musical you've ever seen?
Live?
Sure.
Well, if we're talking drama, I would probably say either the final performance of Grey Gardens or Piazza at Lincoln Center. But if I'm allowed to go into comedy,
sure,
then 1999 Kiss Me Kate. Because everyone in that production was so on the same page. Everyone was in sync. It reminded me of the OBC Into the Woods, actually. Of just like everyone was catching each other and allowing everyone to get their moments. And it was fire.
Yeah.
If we're talking not live, obviously OBC Into the Woods and 94 Carousel. 94 Carousel might still be the best acting I've seen in a musical of all time. Just the things that those people got out of their characters is insane. What about you? What would you say is the best acting musical you've ever seen?
Well, I would say, if televised, the OBC Into the Woods, like it's in all our brains. It is in all of our brains.
It's untouchable. Yeah.
And you might laugh at me, but I really love the Patty LuPone Gypsy. I went and saw it 4 times. Seeing it live and seeing them act the way they acted with their acting.
And the actors, yeah.
Listen.
No, I don't laugh at you. A lot of people love that production, and I didn't hate it.
I loved that production. I loved it. I also really, really, I really loved the 2006 Company as well. I really did. The John Doyle Company.
Yeah, that was good.
I really enjoyed that. I think Barbara Walsh is underappreciated. Her Joanne is completely underappreciated.
I'm a Barbara Walsh stan.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Didn't they televised? There's a DVD of that production, isn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They filmed it.
Yeah. If you can get a hand on it, watch it. Barbara Walsh's performance is terrific.
Another one that I didn't see. I saw the production live, but I didn't see this cast live. I watched the cast at Lincoln Center Library. The opening night cast of the 98 Cabaret is pretty incredibly well acted from everyone. It's Natasha Richardson, Alan Cumming, John Benjamin Hickey, Mary Louise Wilson, Ron Rifkin, Michelle Pock, fucking Dennis O'Hare. Those are all amazing actors.
Yeah.
Most of whom have went on to win Tonys either for that. Actually, no, all of them won Tonys either for that show or later shows. It's
solid.
It's great actors.
We didn't even talk about Cabaret.
I don't love their Tony performance.
But that set a tone.
Sure did.
But also, go back and I love doing a comparison between the 98 Cabaret Tony performance and then the original Joel Grey Tony performance. How different, how much that show has grown, and yet it still is the same story.
Absolutely.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting to see how that 98 one really just sort of made everyone go, oh, okay, so now to do Cabaret now, we make it very raunchy and intense. It's like, sure, but that wasn't just the tone of the Mendes one. It was just to revitalize the show in a way that 90s audiences could understand it.
Yeah.
Because we had gone into the Chicago carousel mode of looking at Golden Age musicals and saying, okay, we got to find what's at the heart of this. And the heart of Cabaret is dramatic.
And was the line before Wild Party crossed it.
Yeah, it was the line of cocaine before Wild Party snorted it, put it on its gums, and spat in our faces. And Tony Boder said, little too far.
So what's the takeaway then? From all this conversation we've had, what's the takeaway?
I miss Toni Collette.
I miss Toni Collette.
That is my takeaway.
Dear Toni Collette, please come back.
Well, so we didn't really talk as much about Bernadette in Rose's Turn. I said what
I wanted to say was just that she did that Bernadette Peters thing, which is just very still and it's dramatic. It's very similar to her moment in The Witch's Lament and Into the Woods, where after Rapunzel gets squashed, she says,
spoiler alert.
Barbara, please. just her stillness that
God.
a lot of people can't get. Nobody can recreate that stillness. When Bernadette Peters wants to like be dramatic and get that stillness, that and Her Rose's Turn is, I think, something. There's a smallness there. That is such a big number, but to achieve that bigness with such small, with just the stillness is stunning.
There's a focus that Bernadette was so good at that I think we've forgotten that she had, because like many actors, men and women who, you know, are known for certain isms, a lot of those isms have now come to define her performance style, I feel like now. Just that's how people sort of think of her.
Right.
And she's done some performances in the last 10 years that maybe have not helped that case. But
True.
You watch her in the Gypsy Tony performance, you watch her in the OBC Into the Woods, and you remember that, like, she can just stare you down and peer into your soul. Fuck, even her fucking as the stepmother in Cinderella, the Your Common Cinderella speech, my God.
Yeah.
Tearing her down to smithereens. And the Gypsy performance, it's not with an anger at us, but rather at herself.
Oh, yeah.
And you feel like you're watching, even though it's this big number on a big old stage, you feel like you're watching the most intimate, private moment. And it makes you uncomfortable.
We're seeing something we're not supposed to see. And
Yep.
she does that very, very well.
I love that kind of messy rawness in a musical, because we don't see it as much these days.
No.
And when I see it, I'm just like, more, please. And that audience just leaps to their feet because they've seen something truly special. She's tapped into something in that moment.
Yeah. And then she lost.
She did lose. And part of that is because she got a lot of bad press. She missed a couple of performances early on in the run because she was sick. People said she's good, but she's miscast. And then Marissa was just, you know, in the big hit. She was in a role that fit her like a glove.
And she was great.
And yes, and Tracy is a role you just root for.
Yeah.
But it is one of those contentious wins that everyone's got an opinion on it. And in case no one noticed, neither Peter or I said Marissa Jarrett Winokur in Hairspray is one of the times the Tonys got it right, because I'm still not entirely sure how I feel about it, if they did or did not.
Did you just call me Peter?
No, my 2-week episode ago.
Okay.
Peter Duchan. No, not...
I was like...
No, not you.
I mean, my name is Prescott. I've gotten called Preston before, but never Peter.
What's the word again? Acupuncture.
Acupuncture. That's the takeaway from today.
What?
We will never forget the term acupuncture.
Strolling along down, what's that word again? Acupuncture. That's this podcast. Stupidity in a nutshell. I also want to say, speaking of Sutton Foster again, show off Drowsy Chaperone. Love that performance.
Yeah.
You don't love it?
It's for me, after Thoroughly Modern Millie is like peak Sutton. After that, it just gets a little too Sutton Fostery for me.
Well, did you see Violet?
Except for Violet, that was really quite good.
Violet's one of my favorites I've ever seen in life. But I just like, I think the tone of that performance is so good. Again, with Bob Martin.
It's fun. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Speaking of celebrating women of all shapes and sizes and ethnicities, My Body and the Life.
Oh my God, My Body. How did we forget My Body?
8 women just stomping on the floor and pissing all over everyone.
Which I have to do soon.
Okay, so we'll get you out of here soon. Dancin', the Sing performance of Dancin' in 1979, or 1978 or 7, I don't remember.
You're literally just deleting everything off your list as you go.
I am. Smokey Joe's Cafe doing on Broadway, where they go from the August Wilson to the Minskoff Theater.
That is cool.
Which 42nd Street revival.
I'm appreciating that you're not just I'm glad that we have not mentioned like the Neil Patrick Harris songs or the James Corden songs, because those are fine, but they're parlor tricks.
They are. The best Neil Patrick Harris song for me was the opening where they went back to Radio City Music Hall. It was the year of Matilda, Kinky Boots Pippin. It was the whole thing like, we're bigger again, like it's all big. And that number was fun, but what made it the most fun was at the very end they had pretty much every Broadway show represented somewhere in the theater, and there was a close-up of Deborah Messing, the audience just looking around being like, oh my God. And that close-up is incredible. How to Succeed, Brotherhood of Man with Lilius White, iconic. The Aggie song from Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Every time Aggie song gets done anywhere, whether it's on Broadway, regionally, or the movie, some boy turns gay.
Every time a note is belted, a little boy turns gay.
Rather, we should reword that as a little boy realizes that he is gay.
That is better.
He has not been turned. He realizes his true self.
That sentence was structured perfectly. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you. My last thing about Turkey Lurkey Time.
Last thing about Turkey Lurkey Time, besides the rubbernecking and the jingle bells,
Yes,
and
unfortunately.
the Björkli of it all.
The Björkli of it all. It's Turkey Lurkey Time, for me, is a perfectly choreographed number that can never be bettered if you want to do that song. Because the song itself is the epitome of stupid. The lyrics make no sense. It has no dramatic reason to be there. We don't spend any time with these characters ever again. It's just a celebration in a show that needs a moment before we get into a very sad scene. And Michael Bennett is able somehow to give us showbiz razzmatazz rooted in character. Like, the way it begins, it is just those three women together starting a little number, and we have the little beats. Donna doesn't know what to do with her glass, and
then it expands and expands, and then you get that crazy choreography.
Yeah, and you watch it build in a really phenomenal way. Like, watch the number 10 times in a row and just start paying attention to different people in it and see how it expands slowly but surely to everyone until it just becomes beautiful joy chaos. I love it. I love it so much.
Until it's recreated in the 2003 movie Camp.
Yes, where they even go one better and mash it up with I'm Still Here. Love it. Last performance for you, Prescott.
Oh.
Or did we cover everything for you?
I think we pretty much covered everything for me, but I want to say this. And forgive me because I'm probably going to destroy the pronunciation of her name, but Joaquina Calagangos.
Joaquina Calacango.
Thank you.
I fucked it up too.
Her performance, I think that is going to be one that stands the test of time. That's a newer performance, and I can't wait to see, like, if we have this conversation again in 10 years, I would like to see if we're still talking about that performance, because it is heartbreaking, and beautiful, and well done. Really well done. And raw.
She's an extraordinarily talented woman. My feelings on that show are my feelings, but there is no denying that she is a wildfire.
Right. Yeah. I want to bring that one up because we didn't talk a lot about contemporary performances.
Sure.
So it's going to be interesting to see what is happening in this past season and seasons in recent years, how they're going to stand the test of time, how the gays love them and theater lovers love them 10, 20 years from now. And I think that is one that can stand the test of time because it is such a heart-wrenching performance. Yeah,
it's a performance of a song I don't like very much, but for me, it is separating the artist from the material, of watching someone who is great be great on a thing that I don't think is very good.
Yeah.
Which is an odd mindfuck. It's quite Inception-y of me, but that's me. I work on many levels. But I literally just talked about this with Promises. Like, Turkey Lurkey Time is a stupid song that you watch great artists make great.
Right.
And yeah, I think in that way it will stand the test of time. The gays are very opinionated, as we've learned in these 5 hours together.
Oh my god.
So who knows how everyone will feel about it in a few years. But I think that there will absolutely be a fight for it as it continues.
Yes.
And yeah, you're not totally wrong. And of all the most recent contemporary performances, that is definitely one that is a contender for sure. Yeah. Prescott.
Yes.
This has been a joy.
It's been a wonderful dream come true.
I love talking to you.
And I love being talked to. Talking with you.
Oh no, you said the thing I'm most sensitive about.
Oh no. All right, should we go have some tea and talk about it? I was just kidding. I don't know if you know, but that's what I do.
No, you're a wonderful kidder. And the truth is that what you said is the truth. So I do talk at people. I try to converse.
No, Matt. This has felt very conversational, and I agreed with many of your things. And there are some things that I had to be kind of sold on, but I was very engaged the whole time.
But I love when you push back, and you've sold me on some things.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that your listeners will go out and make their own list, and if they want to yell at either of us, please follow me on Instagram at Sutton Lee Seymour and tell me why you think I'm wrong about Bernadette Peters' 2003 performance in Rose's Turn. At Sutton Lee Seymour, that's my drag name. That's what I do. I take the things you love and I destroy them. So talk to me.
What are you? The patriarchy? I am on Instagram only at Matt Koplik, usual spelling. If you like the podcast, give us a nice 5-star rating or a little review. You guys have been really killing it with the reviews lately. I would have one to read, but I just read 2 literally yesterday, and I I'm not so popular that I get 5 reviews a day. I get 1 or 2 every couple of weeks. So it's going to be a little while till I get another review to read. But if you are so moved, please do. And that is all for now, I guess. You can DM me and tell me why I'm wrong about Patti Lupin Gypsy. I mean, I've spoken about it before, but I have very passionate, knowledgeable listeners who would love to send me messages and say, I listened to the episode, disagree with you about this, and here's why. And I'm not being sarcastic. I do really enjoy it because I love people conversing in this way.
Well, that's what's fun about art. Art is meant to be discussed, and you do it from a standpoint that is constructive, sassy, and fun. You never tear anything down for the sake of tearing it down.
No.
You look at something and say, well, what could have been done to make it better, or what could we do to make it better? Yeah. And it's fun to have those conversations.
Yeah.
And it's... Yeah.
Don't make like Chiquina and let it burn. Make like Adina and let it go.
You gotta go.
On that note, Prescott, who should we close out with today as our Grand Diva?
Oh my god! Wait, okay. Last time I was here, I think we did Sherry Renee Scott.
Sounds about right.
And I think I want to do someone obscure. Let me think of someone obscure right now. Can we do... Oh, have you ever done Ruthie Henshaw?
I think years ago.
Years ago?
And we are at the stage now where we can start repeating.
Oh,
so
boy.
Let's do Ruthie Henshaw.
Yay!
My friend Danny will be so thrilled. He loves her. We all love her.
We love Ruthie Henshaw.
What's not to love about Ruthie Henshaw?
There's nothing to not love about... Wait, did I say that right?
Ruthie Henshaw, yeah.
Ruthie Henshaw.
Ruthie Henshaw, Ruthie Henschel. Who
knows?
If she wants to correct us, she can come over the Atlantic and tell us her goddamn self.
Yeah.
I will be so happy.
Ruthie Henshaw, come back to Broadway.
Yeah! When was the last time she was on Broadway?
Was it Putting It Together?
It might be.
All right.
Unless she did a random stint in Chicago that we don't know about.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Time to go on to the ibdb.com.
We will find out. Okay, so we will do Ruthie then. That's it for now. You guys have a great rest of your week, and we will see you in 7 days' time to discuss some egregious Tony snubs. Ooh. Take us away, Ruthie. Bye!